Whoop whoop, there it is. Let's get into it. What is going on, guys? How's everybody doing today? We got a whole bunch to talk about. You know, if you saw my community post, you saw that I wrote with question marks Blake Neff, friend of the show. Oh, very interesting. Blake had a little something to say about what Fleet and I did together. Well, what I did and then Fleet took and made an animation of. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll talk about that a little later, though. To first touch on my whole Lionel experience. Guys, I mean, the Lionel experience was wild for me. Somebody out there was 100% right. They said Lionel's not going to let you ask questions, and I was like, we'll see about that. I know my way around. I actually know my way around things like this. It's not my first rodeo, guys. And no, you were 1,000,000% right. I could not get any questions in. We talked, we did converse, we went back and forth. There were some questions asked, but it was pertaining to what he wanted to talk about. But he's skilled. He's very skilled. I didn't realize until I started talking to him the depth of his skill within comedy, within broadcasting, law. I was like, oh, okay. Now I realize. Now I understand. I was like, what is this? Don't worry, I'll be able to. No. He handled business, but it was an incredible experience for me, being able to talk to somebody who has all of these. Listen, he's going to be on my show. He said I could name it. But this is what we're gonna. Someone said I look tired. Thanks so much. I actually slept for 7 hours. Thanks so much. Anyway, appreciate you very much there. Thank you so much. Slept better than I have in weeks. Thanks so much. Really appreciate you there. Anyway, just drank a cup of coffee, ate a great breakfast, actually did some push-ups. Thanks so much, actually. The depth of knowledge that this guy, I was in awe. Someone just said Colin was in awe. I was in awe. I was like, wow, this is, I was like, I didn't understand. I have this list of names. He's going to be on my show. James Lipton, my absolute interview idol, James Lipton in the actor studio. Pat Cooper, this guy has experience and knows Pat Cooper. Opened for Dick Gregory. Knew Jackie Mason. Knew Regis Philbin. I mean, watched Richard Pryor live. I was stunned. I was like, what's happening right now? What did I stumble onto? I couldn't believe it. I can't wait. I can't wait to sit down and talk with him, man. Can't wait. I mean, he actually said that Erica Kirk probably put Charlie Kirk in a headboard coma, which is why he was so smitten by her. He said headboard coma. I mean, this guy, incredible guy, I have to say. He was just hoodwinked to starstruck. It was wild. I mean, open for Dick Gregory? I don't even think you guys understand how big that is. The Zapruder film? The only reason that we have that is because of Dick Gregory. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, Dick Gregory, incredible comedian and turned into an incredible activist. I mean, name Jesse. I mean, rest in peace to Jesse Jackson. Did way more for the Black community and just society at large than Jesse Jackson did. I mean, the guy talked to James Lipton. Now I have to find that interview. I mean, it was just mind-blowing how many things I was like, you knew this person? I'm just writing down names as he's talking. and he's telling me about stand-up comedy and all this stuff. I was like, I can't believe I didn't talk to this guy sooner. I couldn't believe it. Incredible, incredible. Very, very glad. And I'll be definitely doing a show in New York at some time because only because he wants to help so much. And then he gave me some off-air advice of how to get that done and what that looks like. I mean, just an incredible guy. So he was thanking me, and then the radio, and then what he was doing on the radio. And then he tells me he was trolling Canadian radio hosts. I mean, what's going on? Anyway, just had to let you guys know about the Lionel experience. It is different. It is different. I thought this was going to be like, I have a lot of podcast experience, but this guy has a whole bunch of life experience. Just incredible. I mean, saw Richard Pryor live. There's not many people who get to say that anymore, man. That's going away. That's going away. There's only a few more of those people left in the world. I mean, James Lipton, I mean, just the amount of radio experience. I mean, said he wants me to do talk radio. Absolutely not, but, appreciate it. Really, really cool, man. Anyway, I just had to tell you guys about the Lionel experience. We had a great time. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It was really, really cool. Really appreciate that he had me on the show, and definitely go hit that subscribe button on Lionel if you haven't already. I think you're doing yourself a disservice if you haven't done that by now. I know I don't usually start shows like this, but it had an impact on me, definitely. And then and then Casey, I think her name is, said she's on tonight. I think she said she's on Friday. I talked to her because we're actually scheduling. She's going to be on my show as well. I think she said she's on. Pretty sure she said Friday. Pretty sure. I'm not going to open up our DMs or anything, but man. Anyway, just wanted to show you guys that really quick. Lionel, ladies and gentlemen, a gem. Catch him, appreciate him while he's here. Yeah, I always think of that. I always go dark. Yes, Daily Fredo. Yes, she's going to be on Lionel's as well. 100%. I didn't even know her name was Cassia. I thought her name was Fredo. I don't know. She's from Europe. I was like, maybe that's a name. Maybe that's a name in Europe. I don't know. How would I know? How do I know? I've never been to Europe. Have I? No, I haven't. So I don't know. But she is going to be on Lionel's show, and then she's going to be on my show. And let's get started, man. What did I tell you guys? What did I tell you guys about Candace Owens? I don't know. You think I'm just blowing smoke? Didn't I say she was going to do 20 minutes on Ben Shapiro? Minimum 19 minutes. That's what I said. Minimum 19 minutes. Okay? Minimum 19 minutes. Right? How long did she go? 30 minutes. Well, of course. If you want to know what Candace is going to talk about, just ask me. Just be like, hey, what's she going to talk about today? And I'll be like, oh, I'll let you know. I'm telling you. I was able to see it. I knew what was going on. The second I read that message that she put out there, and she's talking about praying for him and all this stuff, I was like, oh, it's done. It's a done deal. Wrap it up. Anyway. She did. She went all in. Actually, I should show this really quick. Somebody actually gave me a great idea. It was a really cool idea. I have an idea after listening to you and Lionel talking. Set aside 1 day a week just for comedy. Write the rough drafts of skits, improvise them just for 1 hour, skip the comments afterward, just nail the comedy. That might get you primed for your next phase. I find that very interesting. I'm going to follow you just for that. That's a really good idea. I might start doing something like that. I just might start doing something like that. I think that is a solid idea. So I'm going to look at that. I'm going to look into that. Who is this? Mike Wick 77. I'm going to look into that. That's actually a really good idea. I should start doing stuff like that because I really, really love comedy more than anything else, quite honestly. You know. Oh yeah, Lionel. Yeah, look at that. Lionel said Erica gave Charlie a Cleveland necktie. I don't even know what that is. I know it's sexual. I know it is. I know it is. It was wild. He's a great guy, man. Great guy. Anyway, let's get into it. Like I told you. Gave him 20 minutes, gave him 30 minutes. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it would happen. And this is the result. Yeah, I mean, the man himself is slowly degrading. The company is degrading. He will not stop the war. Yeah, this I'll say this much. This person missed a great opportunity right here to just make that into a different flag, right? It's the France flag, it's red, white, and blue. They could have went with white and blue. It would have been, I'm just saying that would have been a real nice touch of detail because that's what flag he represents. Anyway, Ben Shapiro is just is degrading, quite honestly. Degrading. The whole company is just falling apart. And honestly, do I think that the company's actually going to fall apart because of what Candace has done? And what Candace has done, I'll say 30%, 70% what Ben has done. Obviously, it's Ben's doing. It's not her, right? I mean, she would look bad if she went at the Daily Wire as hard as she has without Ben doing what he's done. She would look like the crazy one. She would look like the crazy ex-girlfriend. Instead, Ben looks like the crazy ex-girlfriend. But do I actually think the company is going to fall apart and not exist in 5 years? Potentially, but I don't think so. I think they make a healthy amount of money off of Matt Walsh. I think I'd be surprised if they make any money off Michael Knowles. I'm going to be quite honest. And the other guy, Andrew, whatever his name is, the Philadelphian guy who converted to becoming Catholic or Christian or something. I don't think so. I don't think they make any money off those people. I think they need a new young crop. And I think if they just kept Brett Cooper, she would have been the face of the whole thing and it would have been perfect. But, they didn't think ahead. So someone said white token. Exactly. Get back to work, Matt Walsh. There's only so much work Matt Walsh can do. What can you do? The guy already seems very flaccid in his appearance. Was that a poor choice of words? I hang around Lionel now, you understand? So my vocab has changed a little bit. You know what I mean? Matt Walsh is always like, his eyes are low, and he's like, well, that's the thing. And when we're talking about this type, he has no excitement whatsoever. It's because Ben Shapiro's just like, get back to work, get back to work. He's, the glimmer in his eyes are gone, man. He used to be there. Go look him up back in the day. He used to have glimmer in his eyes. Ben Shapiro is not a poor choice of words. He's flaccid. He's just like this. He should be like this. He's Matt Walsh. He should be like this. He should be a major voice in the conservative movement. He should have a lot of power. He should command a lot of respect. Instead, he's like this. So today's show is basically we're going to be talking about what's going on. And I like what President Trump has done. War has always been a good thing. I've always said war has been a good thing, and us Christians could really do a lot better supporting Israel, and that's what he does now. That's his show now. I don't make the rules. Go watch. Go check out the show. Why do you think Ben has to get back to work? Why do you think he does that? Because he has to wake him up. Go look at Matt Walsh. He's half asleep all the time. Check it out. I'm telling you. Anyway, Candace and Michael are very close. Doesn't change the fact that I don't think he's making any money for the company. When's the last time you were like, we got to check out that Michael Knowles clip? We got to check out that Michael Knowles episode. You watch a lot of commentary channels. When's the last time you saw one of them be like, you got to see what Michael Knowles had to say? I mean, guys, this Michael Knowles clip is gonna blow your mind what this guy had to say. When have you ever? No, you haven't. You haven't. You never heard that before. I'm just saying. But I don't think they're going to collapse. I think they're one of those companies, just like Turning Point. If Turning Point lost all their money, all their donors, I think somebody would come in. I think that the GOP would like form some kind of entity that formed another entity that formed another one that just happened to have $100 million, and they'd give it all to Turning Point. Like it'd be something like that, and they give it to them installments, and they would do it through the conservative version of Act Blue, and it'd be all these small donations. They'd make it appear like until Turning Point had infused with $100 million. That's just what they do. So I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think it's going to fall apart. I think Daily Wire is going to be here for a long time. I think Ben Shapiro is going to keep on going for a very, very long time. It's just the way it is. Let me tell you something. If you're new to the world of all of this, there's been a long time we've been waiting around for someone like Klaus Schwab. The World Economic Forum. We're like, well, that Klaus Schwab, he's 80 years old. And we don't wish harm on anybody ever at all. But I mean, how much longer is this guy going to last? How much longer is this Klaus guy going to be alive? And once he's gone, everything will be good. And then he gets sick, and then someone's like, oh, here's his son and his daughter. And his son and daughter are like, we think there should only be 400 million people in the world. And you're like, what the what happened? I thought we were done with this. You think Bill Gates is getting old, and then you go look at his daughter. Daughter's young, spry young lady with the same type of ideals. So, you get excited if you want about Ben Shapiro, not being in the political commentary landscape. There's going to be somebody else that's just going to fill the role right away. And they're going to be the exact same thing. They're just going to pop up. And they're going to be like, actually, the Overton window, there's only a certain Overton window. You're going to be like, what's with this guy's voice? Who is this guy? Hi, my name is Matt Steen. And you're like, Matt Steen? What the who's Matt Steen? I just want to tell you guys what America needs to do is support the greatest ally. And here's the reason it's the greatest ally. You're going to be like, this is happening again. It's happening all over again. This guy's 23 years old. So might as well forget about it. Anyways, let's get into the Candace Owens stuff. Let's get into the Candace Owens stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Let's jump over here real quick. Anyway, Candace Owens, first clip. Is this the first? This is the first clip. Sorry, let me switch over here. This is the first clip. Tell us how you really feel, Candace. How do you really feel about Daily Wire?
The Daily Wire. How is that possible? Well, there are multiple assessments that are floating around right now. Of course, many people directly associated their demise with the top of their game. Everyone was clamoring to work with them, to do projects with them. And now we fast forward to 2026, and generally speaking, again, I'm speaking generally, everyone hates the Daily Wire, right? We just hate the Daily Wire. How is that possible? Well, there are multiple assessments that are floating around right now. Of course, many people directly associated their demise with the never ceasing war against me, which began with my unnecessarily glorious public firing, supplemented by a staggering claim that Christ is King is anti-Semitic. People were going, God will not be mocked. It's a strong start to say Christ is King is problematic, and we've got the money to make that fetch, Gretchen. So yeah, that's the chatter. Did it have to do with me? Take a listen.
Candace Owens cooked you, Ben. She made you look like, well, the little bitch that you are. She straight up publicly humiliated you, and you allowed her to let you destroy the entire media organization that you built.
A lot of people, which is also interesting, are stating that Candace Owens was successful in leaving the Daily Wire, getting fired from the Daily Wire, and now she's a massive independent commentator, public figure. And her success only happened after the Daily Wire. She's probably feeling really good right now. I'm going to be honest. If I was Candace Owens, I'd be feeling pretty damn good right now.
Django Unchained. Dude, she's like Django.
That is such a crazy thing to say. Dude, she's like Django. I love it. I love it. You know, even Candace had the smile. They have major beef, but even Candace broke a smile right there. She was like, I know where he's going with this, you know?
She's like Django, killing everybody in the big house and then blowing it up. Kind of what it was, because she was there. She worked there. She was probably one of the top shows. And then she just exploded the whole house on her way out. Kind of epic. Can't lie. I'm going to glaze Candace Owens a little bit. I don't agree with everything that she's up to, but, you know, if she brings down the Daily Wire, then she's a patriot.
Look at that. You know, somebody freeze framed this because they have had a big beef, mainly just because of Nick. And somebody freeze framed this exact scene and they were like, this is Candace Owens not falling for what Nick is saying. Like, she's not going to be like, you know what? I kind of like Nick now. She's like, yeah, no, I'm not going to fall for this. I know what you're doing. You always do this, you know?
So people are crediting me, but do I actually deserve that credit? Have I been focusing my attention on the Daily Wire throughout this show? Well, taking a look at a more, I guess you could say, the business side of affairs, this user, Akash Gupta, wrote this on X, and I thought it was worth reading. He wrote,
so, as you guys know, I read this to you guys yesterday. I try to have minimal overlap, you know, so, you know, I'm not gonna have her go through it again, but this is just basically talking about the downfall of the Daily Wire, how Ben went from 170 million views a month, which is staggering, and now only gets about 22, I believe the number was, views a month, you know, 22 million, which I don't even think it's 22 million. I probably should correct myself, you know, and then there's just a sharp drop off in the whole company and just how it all went down. The only thing that the guy didn't mention was Jeremy Boring. People are talking about the Buy Me a Coffee app. Here it is. Here is the website. Coach Colin uses buymeacoffee.com at / Coach Colin. There it is for you guys. Some people are saying Nick is a snake. I don't know. I don't know if he's a snake, but you know, I definitely, if I was Candace, I wouldn't be like so excited about him. You know, I wouldn't be super excited about him complimenting me after everything that he said. I mean, if you see the clips, he's said some wild things about Candace, absolutely wild things about Candace. So I don't know. I think the same thing. I'll say the exact same thing that I said in regards to Balak's tones. Balak's is like, oh, I apologize. You know, I'm sorry about that. It's like, no, man, we just watched you go after her and say she needs to be admitted and that she's an alcoholic and she's schizo and all of these crazy things. And then people are like, look, they're going to team up. Oh my gosh. I'm like, what? No. How do you do that with someone who said all that stuff about you? It's not going to happen. So anyway, she's not going to fall for it. I don't think. I didn't want there to be an overlap. Someone said he's a plant. I think that's a possibility. I think that's a big possibility. A lot of unanswered questions there, but I won't get into that. That's for a different episode. We focus on Candace today, driving nails into the coffin, as everybody can see. This is the next clip of Candace Owens talking about the whole Ben Shapiro Daily Wire fiasco, debacle, collapse.
no, where you had that spastic girl that was like standing on the couch like a Nickelodeon girl, like making fun of me, and it was weird and it was cringe and also beyond the realm of being stalked by a former employer. Strange. You don't keep someone's socials and go, ha ha, I own your name and likeness and I can do this. You have to pause and really consider how unusual that was. Now, that was a mere months removed from the end of their last legal action against me too. So that there's never been a stop in my life of the Daily Wire chasing me. If this was an ex-boyfriend, everyone would say that I was in need of a restraining order. Like I said, they wear the mask of this is all court. We just really want to go after her because of that she liked that. It was disparaging. So you cannot discount the fact that Ben Shapiro, who is considered, and this is sad for the other people on the platform, he is considered the face of the company. and he developed tunnel vision. He bet the company on destroying me. I didn't want to fight with them. I wanted to peace out. I wish Andrew Klavan never made the Crisis King video. You would have never heard from me. We can never speak about each other ever again. But they were plotting. They wanted to be destructive. I mean, just take a listen to him and the many battles that he is fighting. Nobody knows why. The people that he should be uniting with and being friends with, that he's taking stabs at. Take a listen to him over just these last few months.
So here's the thing. Theo Vaughn is a low IQ conspiracist. He has himself routinely propped up Candace Owens, has lent credence to her insanity. Theo Vaughn is basically just a Bernie Sanders leftist who does not like the censorious impulses of the left and engages in all the same conspiracy theories and, of course, is good friends with Candace Owens and all the rest of it. And yes, Erica Kirk absolutely should sue the living hell out of Candace Owens for this.
This is so ridiculous. Just to touch on the Theo Vaughn stuff, you'll always notice, if you're on X and you watch Theo Vaughn, he doesn't usually get into any X back and forth. But people share his clips. What he has to say, he says on his podcast. He always makes sure to do that. But when you see Ben Shapiro or Mark Levin, that's usually who it is, who are sharing Theo Vaughn's stuff, retweeting. They never address what Theo says. Never. You would think with this low IQ that Theo has, with these dumb takes that he has, you'd think someone like Ben Shapiro would be able to tear apart any take he has, be able to present facts, right? Facts that don't care about feelings, and just be able to just push Theo Vaughn out of the conversation and just be like, you are so low IQ that you should no longer be here, sir. But never do you see that happen. Never. Not what I just saw a post of Mark Levin posting something that Theo said. He said he doesn't like the relationship between America and Philadelphia. He said he felt like it's something very dark that's happening over there, and he felt like it was not of God, right? And Mark just reposted it, and he's just like Micro Mark, for those of you that don't know who I'm talking about. We call him Micro Mark now, because small. He just reposted, and he just goes, "Dumb bastard." It's like, are you going to address what he said? Are you going to talk about why the relationship's good? Are you going to talk about why it's not dark things going over there? Are you going to address what Theo said about Palantir in Gaza? Like, are you going to address any of that? They should have the ability to do this type of stuff, but yet for some reason they can't do it with Theo. Weird, because like he said, such a low IQ. Like, why not just handle business? Very weird. Very weird. Nothing to say to Theo Vaughn, which makes me think that he's kind of over the mark. I think Theo Vaughn kind of hits the mark, and they don't want to go back and forth with Theo because he's going to be right in what he's saying. Theo's no longer a guy that's, at first it was just feeling. He saw pictures and stuff, and he would talk to Candace, and it would be feeling. He felt terrible about what he's seeing. Now he has research. He has access to people. He has access to people like Joe Rogan has access to people. He has access to people like Candace Owens has access to people. So he's not just pulling it out of nowhere.
Sort of stuff.
Right.
Well, Michael, I'll just ask you straight up. Is Candace Owens doing something evil by attacking Erica Kirk?
I think that it's wrong to attack Erica Kirk.
Well, say the sentence with her name in it.
I'm not going to dance like a puppet for the podcast boys.
I think that what Candace Owens is doing right now.
Could you imagine, for all the men out there, maybe women feel like this too. Could you imagine you're saying something and someone looks at you and says, say the sentence with her name in it? I'd be like, oh God, I guess we're fighting now. Okay. What do you want to do? Are we doing kicks? Nothing to the face? Do you want to do nothing to the face or straight to the face? What are we doing? Because obviously we're fighting now. Obviously that's what it is. Hold on. I have my Apple Watch. I'm going to register this as a workout because I'm trying to lose weight. Is that what we're doing? Are we slap boxing? Or are we just doing fists? What are we doing? Because obviously we're doing something because of what you just said to me. We're fighting or something. Is that what's happening? Obviously. And then he's as small as Ben. Take him like a beach ball. Take him like a little basketball. Come here, little guy. Kobe got him. Are you crazy? You don't talk to grown men. You don't talk to regular sized men that way, sir. Too small for all that. Look at his legs hanging off that chair talking to Megyn Kelly. His legs are hanging off the chair. Feet are doing swings. Absolutely you don't talk to regular sized men that way. Control yourself, sir. Right away. Tyke, little guy. You're toddler size, buddy. You don't talk to regular size guys that way. What? You nuts? Let's go. Cool it, little guy. Okay? Cool your jets, buddy, or I'm putting you in timeout. Talk to you like I talk to my 2-year-old. Anyway.
Is evil. It is evil what she is doing right now. Okay? And I say that again.
But what
Because
like I didn't opine on whether it's evil or not, but my position is it's really none of my business. And
why is it? But I have a question. Why is it none of your business? I mean, you comment on these things for a living.
I'm not mother of the internet.
No, but if this were on the left and somebody were accusing Charlie Kirk of his wife having murdered him, I assume that you would be talking about it.
Is that what Candace is accusing Erica of?
Yes. Of course, the issue here is not just that Megyn Kelly has some questionable principles and has been programming directly into the Groyper right.
Someone said, I'm going to tell your parents, where are they? That's a good thing to say to a small. Listen, I don't make fun of guys' heights. I don't, Ben Shapiro is an exception, but that's a good thing to say to somebody. I'm going to tell your parents, where are they? That's an excellent thing. If you're a lady and there's a guy who's even 5'8" and you say that to him, he is going to be furious. Don't worry. He's not going to put hands on you, but he's going to be furious and he's going to think about it. He's going to think about it days later, weeks later. I mean, that's a solid thing to say. Whoever put that out there, you hit the nail on the head. That's how you handle business. And what he's saying to Megyn Kelly, I think we all know. We've already seen the videos. I've done videos. Everybody's done videos about it. What he was telling Megyn Kelly was actually a lie. That's how far he is going now. He's making sure to make things up when he's talking to people to get them on his side.
It is that she remains a coward. Remember, this is still the woman who says she is friends with Candace Owens.
So no, Tucker Carlson, it is not an excuse to go silent on Candace's targeting of TPUSA or to mirror her bullshit lines of questioning because you love Candace personally. The same holds true of Megyn Kelly.
I mean, it's just not normal. Right. It's just not normal to go after Theo Von. Everybody loves Theo Von. He's just a person that everybody loves, but he just goes, Theo Von is friends with Candace Owens, and I therefore hate him and I want to destroy him. And every person has to want to destroy her and join this team. You can't have those sorts of people in the boardroom. Your company will eventually destroy itself. Now, if the employees found out on Friday that the company could no longer afford to sustain them, then we can reasonably assume that Ben, who's a part owner of the company, knew months ahead. And so what you're looking at there is that with his dying corporate breath, what he wanted was to come after me. And that is not to say that people turned away from him because people don't like political beef, right? It's not like there's tons of political beef. I have political beef with people. People actually have proven they have a high appetite for back and forth drama, left versus right, women versus men, whatever it is, whatever the prevailing narrative is of the day. Nobody minded when Trump would attack Marco Rubio or Ron DeSantis. I've had personal and legal spats with people like Kim Klacik as just one example. People do expect figureheads to clash. What they don't expect and what people have proven that they have no appetite for is perfidy, right? Treachery, deceit, betrayal against your own. Ben trying to destroy me, trying to destroy Megyn Kelly. That means trying to destroy a former colleague and someone like Megyn Kelly, who he said was his friend. That is perfidious. There's no other way to say that. Ben seeking to publicly humiliate Michael Knowles, say her name. There is something about that makes the public naturally recoil, right? Because it demonstrates that you have no honor, you have no dignity, you have no loyalty. They can forgive you demanding COVID shots, right? Get the vaccine dopes. They can forgive you once leading the Never Trump movement, but they cannot forgive you treating people that are supposed to be close to you in that manner, right? To use a biblical analogy, Peter thrice denied Jesus. But Peter was not Judas. We are naturally, as human beings, averse to the spirit of Judas. And that is what Ben Shapiro demonstrates.
Wow. You know, listen, this is an indicator. This, in case you guys want to know, this is coming from the Candace Whisperer here. That's an indication that Candace is pissed. When she starts telling you about the Bible, when she's talking about somebody, you can rest assured she is livid with that person. I'm saying, just that is what it is. She is angry with that person. Very angry. When she brings that out, and she's right. She's right. But also, I think it's something more like I've said it. I just said it yesterday. You know, he's in hour 3 of his podcast. You can only BS people for so long. The mask has fallen off and it's slipped too many times. So where people are like, oh, there's 2 faces, right? It slipped once and they're just like, oh, maybe it just moved or something. Slips again. Oh, maybe. And it just slips again. And people are like, okay, there's a different face under this mask. And honestly, when it comes to Ben, he's kind of just like thrown it off. He's like, I don't care. I don't care. Look at me, you know? He's like the elephant man. Don't look at me. Ah. But everybody has seen it. Everybody knows what's going on. Is there any talk of defending? I wish somebody would do this, but we don't seem to have anybody this petty on our side of things. But is there any of him? How many times has he defended America versus defended the other place, Philadelphia? Go check it out. I would love for somebody to check it out, because you won't see many defenses of America. You won't see many speaking for the American people. It is usually just trying to shove things down the American people's throats. That's usually what he is doing with his content. So people are getting tired of it. It's not just the whole Judas thing that he's talking about. People see that and they go, oh, okay, that's kind of wild. But it's more than that. It's just the people can tell this guy's not for me. As people, there's a huge movement of people who are America first, and then they're also America only. And when you listen to Ben, you don't get the vibe that he's there with you at all. In fact, he has made segments in his show where he talks about America first. Matt Walsh has as well. America first and American only is stupid. It's dumb. It's a dumb thing. Actually, you know, Matt Walsh hasn't. He actually has talked about America only. He actually has talked about that. I correct myself there. But Ben has talked about why that is a stupid position to hold, a destructive position to hold. I mean, you know, I'm saying everything except he's a propagandist, you know, but there, said that too. Anyway, let's keep going. Candace Owens right here. Let's keep on going here. Candace Owens saying, I see Jamie said something there. I'm not going to read it yet, though. Jamie's a firecracker. Jamie might throw off the whole show. I can't have you throw off the flow of the show, Jamie. Can't have you do that. I'll I'll read it after. But this is her responding to what Ben said. I try to go for minimal overlap. So you guys know I already played this for you yesterday. It's him basically saying, you know, Candace Owens monetizes her YouTube channel. You guys do understand that she actually makes money from you guys watching, and you know, when you click the like and subscribe, she's actually making money. So you're complicit, actually, just so you know. Meanwhile, he's doing the same thing, the exact same thing. So just this is Candace's response to the whole thing.
Gullibility, then you are complicit in this nonsense.
He makes me so nervous, like the way his head shakes when he's like that at the end there. Like he's in a psychosis. There's no other way to say it. Does he really believe that my audience is so stupid that they don't know that, like, when they're hitting my YouTube page, that we monetize the page and we have advertisements? That's his breaking story there. And does he recognize at all the irony of him making that claim as he does the very same thing? So what is he upset about? He's upset that our show is doing well despite his very best efforts behind the scenes to prevent that from ever happening. And right on cue, his supporters then began demanding a boycott of our show advertisers over the weekend. And it began trending. So take a look at this, where they listed all of our sponsors. It says list of companies that sponsor Candace Owens' podcast. Do all these companies condone the behavior of Candace berating and demonizing a widow?
Just so you know, Birch Gold, Pure Talk, ExpressVPN, all have been sponsors of the Daily Wire before. A lot of people don't know that. All of these companies have sponsored the Daily Wire at some point in time, right? Sponsors don't last for like full years or anything. Sometimes they do, but most of the time it's just like, a quarterly type of thing. And they have definitely done it with the Daily Wire.
Erica Kirk, if you haven't already, I suggest boycotting these companies until they withdraw their sponsorships. I'm also calling on all of these companies to withdraw their sponsorships of Candace Owens' podcast. I don't believe her views align with their company values. Do you condone Candace's views or her anti-Jewish rhetoric? And they started posting all of our sponsors. Some of these are actually not our sponsors. They probably just were like, oh man, we ended up on here. Okay. He wants my money. Similarly, they began targeting this morning our merch store. Actually, something that began over the weekend. Here is a tweet that followed this. Candace Owens wears shirts with her name and her face on them. She drinks from a cup with her name and face on it. She works on a computer with stickers of her face on it. What would you call this? We'd call it branding and marketing.
Somebody actually, somebody who follows me tagged me in this, and they're like, I think they tagged me or they reposted it, and they're like, are you running out of material? Because it's like, who cares about this? Like, this was his post. This was his big breakthrough. Like, look, the sharp arrow, red circle, red arrow. Look. Have you not seen this before? Oh my goodness. It's like, who cares? Like, what are we talking about?
Marketing, actually. And Laura Loomer, of course, followed this up with calls about what we were doing with our merch, because this is the new call, get rid of Candace's merch. If you have that tweet, she asked people to support her, aka donate to her legal fund by buying her ugly merch. She doesn't need money. Why doesn't she sell one of her luxury SUVs? Why are people who are less fortunate than you are for money when you're wearing designer, driving $1 million worth of cars? It's so beyond untrue. It's crazy. Living in 2 homes, also untrue. That's crazy. Why doesn't she support herself? I do support myself. Thank you. And so this is just what you see. This is their focus. It's been forever since I left Daily Wire, bankrupt Candace Owens. And so when you look at the full picture of Ben and what collapsed his company, it wasn't me. I wasn't at war with Ben. I wasn't trying to destroy Ben. I didn't tell people to boycott Ben or boycott the Daily Wire. To the contrary, I feel really bad for the employees who lost their jobs in that way. And behind the scenes, I'm trying to help some of them get new jobs because they moved their lives and their families here. But regarding Ben, that is just the spirit of a man who wants money as revenge for his own actions. No one told Ben to launch a war on Christ as King. In fact, I strongly advised against it. All right? God will not be mocked. Money seems to be everything to Ben. That explains why, after working behind the scenes to encourage, and in front of the scenes, as you saw, to encourage Erica Kirk to sue me, he likely landed upon Brian Harpole.
Yeah, they were trying to get somebody to sue Candace. They really wanted that to keep on going. It is interesting with the whole Christ is King thing, because no one really cared about it until the Daily Wire started talking about it. The Daily Wire and Seth from the Babylon Bee. Seth, I don't know, how do you say his last name? Dylan, I guess. I don't know. But I don't know, because he blocked me so long ago. We had a back and forth like 2 years ago, and he blocked me. So I don't get to see much of what he posted, but I saw that when they were doing that whole thing, and I was like, this is such a weird thing. They're trying to make it illegal within the public mindset to say this phrase. I'm like, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. And it was very weird. Very weird that they tried to do that. It just didn't work at all. It made it. I say it every day now. Not even because I say it. Every time somebody sends a super chat or coffee or anything, that's the thing they say. And you say it back, obviously. But I don't remember saying that at all before. And then they made it popular. Good for them. Good for them. Good for Ben. And what was his name? Andrew. What was his name? Clavin is his name. What a villain name. What a villainous name that is. Villainous. I hang out with Lionel now, in case you couldn't tell. Okay. I've been hanging out with Lionel and I've been perceptualizing a lot of different things now. Okay. So no longer do I just scroll through things, I peruse. Okay. Just putting it out there. I no longer have to say sugar, honey, iced tea. I say excrement. I do. Yeah, I do. Well, what can you say? I know Lionel now. So let's move on to the next clip here. Let's just make sure I don't want any overlap here. Okay, there's no overlap there. Beautiful. Let's go on to the next clip of Candace breaking it down. Again, we're moving on a little bit. But I mean, like I said, Candace gave him a hard 30 minutes. Crazy 30 minutes. I knew that would happen. I knew it. Nail in the coffin, boy.
All right, look, guys, the little pony could only go on for so long, right? I mean, it was just watching something and it was painful. I mean, the buying of the views, everybody in YouTube world knew Ben is buying, he's buying views. And that's just what's happening. I know how he's doing it because I know the person who used to do it at the Daily Wire and through advertising. And you wonder how I was actually asking the question, like to my husband, like, how is that not like an advertising Ponzi scheme of sorts? Like, how do you buy views and then sell to advertisers on the basis of your views? And my husband said, well, then maybe they could potentially be putting something in the contract that allows them to sort of get around that tricky clause, like, oh, we may sometimes advertise or whatever. But this was just watching. They were just on the plank for a very long time, sort of walking the plank. Anyway,
she kind of just says anyway towards that. The clip's not done, but she just kind of says anyway. Is that not? Am I the only one? Maybe it's because I actually make videos. They're buying views, and it's just like a normal thing. She's just like, oh yeah, they buy views because I knew the person that used to buy the views. What for the Daily Wire? What? Huh? What? Say again? So they're just buying views? Isn't that a big thing? Isn't that a huge thing? Don't you get kicked off platforms for doing that? I wish I could do that. You know? You just see me the next day, 100,000 people watching live. Oh yeah, I'd abuse it. I'd be like, we got 250,000 people watching live. What's going on, everybody? It's crazy. And then also you're taking money? That has to be illegal. Doesn't make any sense. I don't know. I was watching her say that and I was like, oh, well, that has to be a crazy thing that she's going to talk about more. And she's just like, anyway, it's like, it's a known thing. And I guess it is kind of a known thing in the streaming world. People do that a lot. Not really people who go live on YouTube, because YouTube's actually oddly really good at cracking down on that kind of thing. But in Twitch and Kick, apparently it is a known thing that everybody does. So I don't know. I guess it's just a regular thing in the who's who, right? I don't know. I'm just like lowly, climbing the ranks podcast. So maybe it's just normal as you move up into Daily Wire territory, into the conservative big media company territory. Maybe that's just a normal thing. I don't know. Really weird. Really, really weird to me. Anyway, let's keep going.
Did find something was brewing last week. We could all feel it, like I said. And Baron Coleman received a very interesting comment on his show, because we're going to talk a little bit more about this lawyer, Matt Sarlson, who tweeted out this lawsuit with Brian Harpole. We're very familiar, like I told you, with Matt Sarlson, just objectively a lawyer that takes things, like was making this so personal, and we couldn't figure out why it was so personal. And now I think we do have an understanding. But take a listen to Baron Coleman read this comment on his show.
I'm from CLT. A friend of my husband got a call from.
Hold on. We're gonna let Baron talk. Corby Hall? Is it the Corby Hall? You say someone has said Corby Hall himself has said that Corby Hall is in the chat. Is that? Are you the Corby Hall that we have seen on Candace Owens, sir? Are you the Corby Hall that thought it was a wise idea to sit down with Victor Marx and let him do a clearly not Christian ritual to you, sir? Are you the same Corby Hall, sir? We loved your interview, Corby. Everybody loved it. You were very sincere. We all loved it very much. If you ever want to be on the show, let me know. Let me know. But sir, for the love of God, do not let anybody do that to you again. If a guy walks up to you and his eyes are completely black and he says, I got to do a prayer on you, son. You just have such a great relationship with your wife, and I got to help you out right now. Just get the demons off of you. You got to move back, man. Don't let him do that. And please don't let him do it to your wife, Corby. Huh? Corby, we're glad to have you here, man. That's amazing. That's amazing. And again, offer stands. Hit me up on X. I follow you on X. You can follow me. We can talk. If you want to be on the show, love to have you. Talk more about that wild stuff that you were involved in. If you'd like, the whole retooling prayer was absolutely wild. You had us scared as you were telling that whole story to Candace. We were all like, what is going on right now? We can't believe this is actually a thing that happened. I have actual footage of Victor Marx's eyes going black. I don't know if you actually know that. When he does his whole like disarming of firearms thing, his eyes go black. This is not a made up thing. It's on his own YouTube page. They advertise it like it's a cool thing that his eyes go black. There's a lot of occult stuff. And I will say, in all seriousness, I don't know what you've done since. Please get your soul cleaned. Get baptized, perhaps. You gotta get that off of you, you know. All of a sudden I talked to Corby. He's like, so I went and got my soul cleaned. There was another guy. This guy had horns. He was all red, but he said he was just tanned. And he said he'd do a retooling prayer on me. So I got inside this pentagram. No, Corby. Corby, no. I'm kidding. You did a great job, man. And hopefully you are not around any narcissists anymore, because that is for sure what you encountered when it came to Victor Marx. You encountered a fierce narcissist person who I think has something evil inside of him. I really do. I think he has something very evil inside of him, which is why he said the things that he said to you and did the things that he did. But again, glad to have you here. Corby Hall, ladies and gentlemen, friend of the show. Let's get back to it.
From Larry L. trying to pay him to go to CLT airport to take pictures of Candace in the airport. At the same time, the news of the lawsuit dropped. Really? Why is she in the Charlotte airport tonight?
So I think Barron didn't understand what that commenter was saying. So what the commenter was saying is of remarkable interest. What they're saying is that they knew someone who Larry Loomer was trying to send to the Charlotte airport when I received news of a lawsuit. The reason why Barron is confused is because I didn't publicize that I had received an email from Matt Sarlson while I was in the Charlotte airport. That's a very precise thing. It signals that Laura Loomer knew before we had announced to public more than a week, because they had first sent this, like, I don't know, demand thing at first and said, we are following this lawsuit in 4 days. But I was standing in a Charlotte airport when I received that email. So how is it possible? And again, I'll say allegedly, how is it possible that Laura Loomer was trying to get somebody go take photos of me reading that email that I received that nobody could have known I was going to receive outside of Matt Sarlson's firm? That signals that there's some coordination between Matt Sarlson, Ben Shapiro's lawyer, and Laura Loomer. And then by golly, you guys, when he tweeted out this lawsuit, could you imagine my surprise? We went onto his wall and we saw that before he acknowledged the lawsuit, he had been heavily retweeting Laura Loomer and her attacks against my family. Laura Loomer asserting that my husband is not an immigrant, thank you, he was an immigrant, was involved in this DUI. He's retweeting Laura Loomer. That's very interesting. There seems to be a connection here. Not only that, but Jacob William Roth, Ben Shapiro's brother-in-law, similarly was retweeting the lawsuit. So this is very interesting.
You know, when Candace was first talking about this, in my head, I went, oh, that's because, you know, Jigsaw is clearly some kind of operative, you know, allegedly, maybe, perhaps. Seems like it. Sometimes, I guess, works for the Pentagon as well. gets to sit down with the president, although she clearly does not have any expertise or value at all to be sitting down with the president, giving him instruction on what he should do and how he should move forward with certain individuals. So it's like, clearly she's something else. She's not like, you know what I mean? Like, you see Graham Allen and you go, oh, Graham Allen, he's just this guy. Oh, he sucks. He's on Rumble, blah, blah, blah. But then I've pulled it up for you guys many times. You go and see that he has a Twitter handle that is connected to the DOD, and it's still active and it's not going away. So it's like, okay, he's clearly an employee of the DOD, you know, at some point it's still active. You think they'd shut it down. They're usually pretty quick about that kind of thing. You know, they're usually pretty quick. They're pretty quick to put former in, you know, something. They haven't done that with Graham. So clearly something's going on with this jigsaw, you know? So that's what I thought at first. And then you tell me that, you know, and we talked about this. Danks even commented on trying to get this information to Candace through Elizabeth Lane, that there is a connection between these lawyers and Ben Shapiro and Daily Wire. I mean, are they all some kind of op? Are they all some kind of op for some place that's kind of small, that's called Philadelphia when we're on this show, right? Are they all a part of that op? Is this happening really because Candace is evil and demonic? Or is it happening because she has been very vocal about questioning this place in the Middle East that we call Philadelphia? I don't know. Well, like, what do you think? Is it because she's evil? Is it just because it's beef? Right? That's how we present it. You know, when I go into the drama of it all, we present it like it's just some back and forth and, oh, there's this crazy lady and then there's Candace and they're going back and forth. But in reality, that's not what's really going on. Beef with Candace. That's not really what's happening. Right? I talk about it all the time when I see these people. I always say, you got to watch when they do it kind of like they are, like it's their job, you know? When you see Gary doing what he's doing it like it's his job, because you can look at the numbers and it's like, well, he's not getting paid enough to survive. Why is he just making it his effort to put in 50 man hours a week just to talk about Candace and the lies that she's told? Why is Graham doing the same thing? Why is Larry Loomer putting in 80 hours a week? You know? Valhalla did a poll and Loomer got voted most disgusting person. Valhalla and his polls. I saw they were doing a podcast tier list. And when I tuned in, I was beside Destiny. And I'm like, what is happening? I'm beside Destiny. I had to watch so close. He put me in the A tier. And I was like, well, I'm not A tier. I'm like, you can put me on C. It's fine. I'm not A tier. I think it's because he knows me. He put me in the A tier list, you know? But otherwise, you know, you give me a C, it's fine. I failed everything in school. I'm cool with a C. You know, I've always been, you know, but he gave me A tier. I was happy. I was happy about it. I should do polls. No, I'm not doing a poll. Actually, maybe we'll do a poll later, sometime. I can't think of what to do a poll about. Here's a poll. Here's a quick poll. Is Lindsey Graham gay or straight? Put your answers in the chat. I just saw his name. I don't know why Lindsey Graham didn't do anything this episode, guys. He didn't need to catch that straight. I don't know why he did that. I don't know why he did that. Oh, man. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't. Oh, now the chat's just going to be filled with gay. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. Oh, man. It was just, it's just, I'm sorry. It's just a stream of consciousness. I saw his name. Someone said poll. I was like, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, so it's just rolling in. Everybody's just saying gay. Someone said you voted, not Valhalla. Oh, very nice. Thank you. Appreciate that. Oh, it's all just saying gay now. If someone tunes in right now, they're going to think you guys are talking about me. I don't know. I went to Coach Colin's channel and I don't know. Everyone was just calling him gay. Some people said zesty AF. Some people said extremely gay. I don't know. It's very weird. I don't know. Is he? Everybody in his chat seemed to think so. Every single person. It was really weird. I don't know. I don't know why. I didn't know he was like that. He seemed straight, but everybody was telling me that he was gay. Oh, man. Oh, man. I'm sorry, Mr. Graham. We're in the middle of something here. Very, very sorry about that. So I know gay papi. I know gay nunca, nunca, no gay nunca, nunca, no gay nunca, nunca. Although there's nothing wrong with that. Anyway, let's keep going here, guys. ADHD. I just went off on a little. Sorry about that.
By golly, some people thought, are they coordinating? Are they using Laura Loomer? Because how do these people know each other? Again, why is this Matt Sarlson so invested in my life? Well, Laura Loomer, when she thought I was going to have a bad week last week, tweeted this. Damn, Candace O is having a bad week, almost like she got ambushed. Couldn't have happened to a more wretched bitch. Oh, I think there could be some coordination going on. And we'll be able to tell you more about that because we're finding out a lot of information right now. And I've got to get in my early predictions here because I've rarely been wrong on this stuff. Like I insinuated, cancerous goals like this inevitably infect everyone. And this absurd lawsuit from Brian Harpel, the internet recognizing, looking up now and paying attention that there are these bizarre connections between everyone. This is going to shine a negative light of attention on Harmeet Dillon because this is her.
Dylan, that's how you say it. I thought it was Dillion. What's the H for in her name, in her last name, if it's just Dylan? What's the H for? I'm the problem. I can't pronounce names. I think that's ridiculous. Anyway, this whole thing, Harmeet Dillon, okay, I got the name right now. Harmeet Dillon. Very interesting stuff. Very, very interesting. This whole law firm being connected. Why am I hearing voices? Anyway, all right, let's play this.
Her law firm, right? Dillon Law Group is Harmeet Dillon's law firm. She currently works for the Department of Justice. She left her firm, obviously, to go fill this position. And I think transferred the stake in the company to her brother while she's currently serving in the Department of Justice. She's serving as the Assistant Attorney General for the Civil Rights Division. She's also the front runner to replace Pam Bondi for Attorney General of the United States. That's a big position. People are wondering, Trump signaling lawsuits, Erica, sue. What's going on here? Why does this all feel a little bit incestuous, right? Pam Bondi, just to be clear, had become to the American people virtually synonymous with corruption for Israel, right? Regarding the Epstein files, we've hated her since she gaslit us about the files. She lied to us about the files, the binder of the files. What is your priority, Pam Bondi? Who are you protecting? Why does it feel like it's the nation state of Israel? And while I can, just to be clear, Harmeet Dillon's firm has never been accused or charged with any corruption related to Israel, but her law firm is heavily involved in a lot of legal issues on behalf of Israel, right? For example, there was a recent company that made waves, which we hadn't covered on this show, which registered rightfully under FARA. Big deal. Israel never wants to do that. Rest in peace, JFK. Called Show Faith by Works. Okay, so Show Faith by Works LLC. If you are not familiar with that company, I'm going to tell you what they are all about. Just 8 days after Charlie Kirk was assassinated, Show Faith by Works began their contracting registration under FARA. The principal of the company, to be clear, is Israel's Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Their stated purpose is to target Christians in the United States with anti-Palestinian and pro-Israel messaging. How? With geofencing. Okay, meaning you go to a public event, you go to church, and they are actually going to put an invisible fence around your phone, which then allows them to hand over your information, to allow people to freely target your phone with searching and messaging. Here's the times of Israel article about that. This was published in October, and it says Israel to spend up to $4.1 million on a Christian PR campaign in the West. It says the foreign ministry has hired another American firm to run influence operations in the United States.
Now, this I found interesting. We're gonna keep going with this, but I found this so interesting because when I did Zach Costello's show, he was talking about this. But he was talking about it in the sense of many people from his audience were sending him screenshots of this exact thing that they're talking about. Now, how do they actually focus in on you through this whole geofencing, right? I think Candace plays the clip of Andrew Kolvet talking about the geofencing. He's kind of bragging about it. I think he said like somewhere in the neighborhood of like 250,000 devices were geofenced, were tracked. And he's trying to show like this is how many people were there. But he said it in a crazy way. He could have just said, we have information that there was 250,000 people there. But instead, he's like, we tracked Larry Ellison style a whole bunch of devices. We could hear these people's heartbeats and we knew exactly where they were. And I could tell you all of their blood types. And they were all around the event. We got this information through technology. He did it very, very poorly. He shouldn't have said that. But everybody's glad he did. Now, Zach Costello was actually showing me this. And he's saying that there's like an AI bot that will communicate with you. And the AI bot will be like, hey, I'm from XYZ. You know, maybe it'll say a church that it's associated with, but it'll say, do you have time to talk about the war in Iran? Or do you have time to talk about Iran? Even to the extent of after Zach and I sat down together and we did the podcast, maybe 30 minutes after, he sent me a screenshot. He actually sent it to me. Zach couldn't possibly mind if I'm not going to like show you guys, but I'll show you. I'll read what the message said. He said, it says, hi, I'm Jen from Friends for Peace. Quick question for folks in Virginia about Israel and Iran. Got a second? So if he was to respond, which he didn't, it would start talking to him about the conflict of what's going on. And it would have gave a very positive spin towards Philadelphia rather than Iran, of course. And it's wild what they actually do, because that was him showing me in real time how it actually works. So they have this campaign. It's not just that they're trying to show you ads that are positive. It's not just that they're trying to show you videos that are positive. They're actually getting AI to have conversations with you to actually move your opinion towards the positive view of Philadelphia. Very, very weird stuff. So just thought I'd throw that in there because Zach was talking about this. This has been something that Zach Costello's been talking about for a little while, it seems. People still saying gay out there, you know, it's a little far back. A little far back, you know, still be saying gay. Now I don't know who you're talking about anymore. I'm just kidding. Somebody said Zach did respond to the bots. Oh, did he? I watched the clip on it. There you go. I have to find that clip. ASAP. Someone told me that you did a video where you responded to the bot that was messaging you, can you send me that clip? That would be great. That's wild. That's different. You know, it kind of touches on what we talked about yesterday when Ian Carroll was talking about, I think it was yesterday, when Ian Carroll was talking about the digital gulag that is starting to form, you know, underneath the ballroom. That digital gulag that's starting to happen here. That's part of it, because it gets to the point where they just kind of blanket message people, right? They blanket message people and just see like, okay, let's check the temperature. Let's try and move people's opinions. Then it'll get to the point where it'll know that you have a negative opinion and they'll make sure to message you about it. They'll make sure to try and push you. You'll get more ads than the regular person. You'll get more, you know, bots messaging you than the regular person, because they'll understand exactly what you've been saying and exactly who you are. Man, wild stuff. Anyway, let's keep going there.
Plans to spend as much as $4.1 million on a marketing campaign aimed at Christians across the western part of the country to according to newly filed federal disclosures. The documents filed last week under the FARA Act reveal that Show Faith by Works LLC will execute what it bills as the, quote, largest Christian church geofencing campaign in U.S. history. A newly formed company with a San Diego address, Show Faith by Works, is run by Chad Schnitger, a prominent Christian conservative activist in California. The initiative is designed to reach churchgoers with digital ads that are explicitly, quote, pro-Israel and anti-Palestinian, end quote, while dispatching a mobile, quote, October 7th experience to church parking lots. That sounds terrifying. We don't want a mobile October 7th experience. Are you going to kill people? What are you saying?
So somebody just asked, can you get ungeofenced? When I was talking about it with Zach, sometimes when you vote, you will be opted into these things. You got to really look at the check marks that you're checking off. Sometimes what they do is they make it feel like you need to check off certain things in order to move forward in a form. You should really be looking at those check marks you check off, because sometimes you're actually allowing them to do this type of thing to you and you don't realize it. Other than that, I don't know how you can undo it once it's done, because now we're talking about them having your data. So you cannot respond to whatever they're trying to throw to you, right? You can block them. I saw someone in the comments saying, I block all of those things. You can definitely block as much as you can. That's what I tend to do as well when I get just unknown things, right? From various companies. I never get the thing that Zach got. I wish I could get that, because I would definitely talk to that thing and see what was up, see if I could change its mind. But yeah, all you can do is block, not answer, and that's it. And just watch what you do. And you should actually look into, I wonder, I don't actually know this part. I get a new device. That's also an option as well. But then it might be connected to your phone number, because they are getting a profile of you, right? So when they do this, they're getting a profile of you. So it's your device, your phone number, like if they're going to send email, if it's going to like evolve to that point, who knows? But you could get a new device. You could get a new number. That's a lot. That's a lot to do, I think, but some people might want to do it. But also you should check out whether or not you could go to that event that Andrew was talking about and say, hey, are you guys geofencing? Like, I wonder if they have to tell you. I wonder. I don't actually know that for a fact. I wonder if you said to whoever, donate your phone to the Daily Wire, someone says. I wonder if you actually were going to go to an event, a big event like that, a Turning Point event. If you could say, hey, are you guys going to be geofencing at the event? I wonder if they have to tell you. I don't know that they do. I really don't. And honestly, the people who might be taking in your information so you can actually attend the event, they might not even know. They might be like, no, not to my knowledge. And then they just do it. Don't take your phone to church. There's that option as well. Yeah, definitely. So yeah, it's very weird. Very weird, the whole geofencing thing, to be honest. I don't know what you could do about that, quite honestly. We're in a really dark place when it comes to tech. The whole how do I get all of my information off the web? I mean, it is near impossible nowadays to get your information off. People have gone through the craziest hoops. Don't go to Christian Zionist churches. Yep, that's another thing. It's definitely another thing. Scrape your cell. That's definitely another thing you could do. But we're in a dark place. Danks has done a bunch of work on this. Has he? We got to check out those videos. Name a video for us so we can all know. Yeah, that would be good to know. I could just ask him myself, but for you guys. Anyways, guys, just got to jump into another topic here. Although that is a big topic. How to get yourself out of that whole thing. I don't know. But definitely be preemptive about it from now on when you're looking at things. You go to register to vote, check what they have you checking off. Right? You do it online, check it out. There might be something that they're trying to opt you into. Most of the time, with most things you sign up for, they're trying to opt you into something. And even if it's just newsletters and whatnot, you have no idea. It could be like, you know, the way that they make bills, right? They'll make a bill and the bill will be, 1,000 pages. And the bill is called the Does Great Things for Americans bill. But then in page 666 and on page 33, there is little passages about sending, $80 billion to one country and $100 billion to another country, right? And you just don't know because nobody reads all those pages. It could be the same thing with that. They say it's like newsletter and marketing material. And you're like, well, I like a newsletter, so I know what they're talking about. Fine. And you think it's just going to be that. But actually, when you check it off and you say yes to the marketing material, that could be the part where they're like, okay, so now you've opted into us taking your profile and putting it into a system and selling it off to this company. You have no idea. So I would say stay away from that. Airplane mode while you're at the event might not work. That might not work. Anyways, guys. Daily Fredo. It does say with Cassia. Somebody told me that. They're like, it says Daily Fredo with Cassia. I didn't know that. Listen, I look at the bigger things. I see this. I'm like, okay, this is Fredo, obviously. I don't know. How would I know? My bad. She had this to say about what Baron Coleman was covering yesterday. Baron Coleman's show last night was an important reminder that Charlie Kirk's murder investigation is more than a real-time criminal case, more than something to discuss with friends over drinks. It's worth pausing at times to recognize the deeper reality of what we're confronting, that this is a battle against dark, destructive forces. It's serious, it's dangerous, and it's real. May God protect everyone involved in this mission, those on the front lines and those supporting from the sidelines. Truth will prevail. Christ is king. Christ is king indeed. And then she tagged a whole bunch of us. Me, Candace, Lionel, Jesse on Fire, Ian Carroll, Sam Parker, Danks, Nisi, Billy and Brandy, Trigger Smart, Project Constitution. We're all the ones that are getting arrested, Thanks for calling us out there, for Fredo. I can't call her Fredo. Like, is a problem if I call her Fredo? Come on. Someone said Valhalla's audience rated the podcasters. Oh, well, that's nice to know. Thank you so much. I thought it was just Valhalla. Valhalla's like, well, I know the guy, so let's throw him up here. What does everyone think of Baron Coleman's idea last night concerning Erica? Is Andrew Kolvet setting Erica up to fail? Is Andrew sabotaging Erica? Agree, mostly disagree, agree, mostly agree, or disagree. Leave your well-informed opinions below. That is Travis there. Baron Coleman touched on a bunch of things yesterday. It got very dark. Someone says it could be summed up just by this. Just by this clip alone, we can sum it up. There it is. Let's play this.
Again, Blake's just absurd. He's not an option. Justin Strife is nobody. I mean, he might be perfectly fine, but he's a fundraiser. I mean, he's not a face of an organization. Andrew's a good-looking guy. He can speak on a microphone, and again, he understands the prep that goes into these things. I think I had to ask myself the other day, if they made an emergency change tomorrow, remember when Erica said, I need to take a little time off with my family? If they made an emergency change and said, we need a new public face of TPUSA, we have to make a change at the top. We need a new CEO. I think they would have to pick Andrew. I think he's the only one that would make sense. Bring in Andrew. He's already well known. He's part of it. He's been on the Charlie Kirk show. He was the co-host. He was the substitute host. Now he's the co-host of the eponymous.
Damn, all the ladies are just like, Andrew is not a good looking guy. Okay, all right, ladies. Jeez. Ladies are chiming in heavy. They're like, Andrew is not a good looking guy at all. Wow. I think he's all right, again, they got very zesty qualities, these guys. Very zesty qualities. Now, when it comes to Andrew being the CEO, I think Barron's right, but I think the person that makes the most sense and has always made the most sense is Candace. I think Candace makes the most sense. None of the other guys actually make sense. Who can be the CEO, look after this massive company, travel 300 days a year, raise their kids, debate with people on the cuff, like just off the top of their head, dominate in those debates? I mean, who else is the correct answer other than Candace? Andrew can't debate. He can't run a company, and put this on all of them, not just Barron's answer. Put it on all of them. They can't debate. They can't handle confrontation. They don't have what it takes to just travel all through the year. They can't juggle that and their company. The person who could do that is Candace. That's the person. I think that if we ever got access, like Tyler Robinson with his note that he had that nobody can get a hold of, but they say there's forensic evidence of a note. I think if we got a hold of what Charlie actually said, I think either there would be nothing because he didn't think he was going to get taken out, or it would be Candace. I think that's what he would say. I think he would say, reach out to Candace. Maybe he wouldn't be like, give Candace the keys to everything, but he would be like, you have to reach out to Candace. She will be able to help you. She's helped build this company before, and I feel like she is the one who could take this mission to the finish line. He's already said this in text. He has said this more about Candace, proven, because Candace actually showed us the messages, than he has about Andrew, than he has about Tyler, that he has about Erica. There's no proof that he said any of this stuff that they're claiming he said about Erica. Being president, being vice president, being the ruler of the known world, right? There's no proof that he actually said this stuff. But we actually have proof of him saying this about Candace. So I think for sure they would be like, I think for sure the answer is Candace. That's the person who should be in charge of this whole thing. Let's face it. What I think Charlie didn't think would happen, I think Charlie did not think that at some point they would be at war with each other like this. I bet Charlie thought they're going to carry on what I was doing. I think when they say they have notebooks of stuff that Charlie wanted to do, I think if those notebooks even exist, which I question if they even exist, I bet there's a whole bunch of pages that they're just ignoring. I bet there is. I bet there's a whole bunch of stuff that he had in mind that they're just going, we'll skip over that because that's going to lose us donors. We'll skip over that because the administration doesn't really, Trump actually said, I think that's what they're doing with that. If it exists, again. So that's just me. I think that Candace is the best bet for CEO. She's the only one that could really do it. And she's the only one that would really clean it out. She's the only one that would say, okay, we got to clean this company up. But what do we do? Let's just what do we have to do? Tyler, step back. Blake, you're the brain. I already have a brain, so you're good. Bye. Andrew, you're a spokesperson. I've never really worked well with spokespeople or PR, so have a good one. Justin Strife, Erica. So Erica, you have 2 kids to raise? Fantastic. I'll visit sometime. Bye. Justin, did you do the Doge effort yet? Did you do it? Okay. Well, tell me where the money's going, where it's coming from, and I will do a 12-part series on the whole thing, and we'll make sure some people go to jail. And that would be it. That would be it. But they couldn't have that happen. Anyway, let's keep going. Your humble host, ladies and gentlemen.
Program. I wonder. I mean, I really am starting to wonder, knowing what I know about this op to get in and take over TPUSA. And that's what it looks like to me, that Johnny Moore and Andrew Kolvet plotted to get inside of TPUSA and flip it into an organization that supported Johnny Moore's political ambition, to his political position. Now that I think that, now that I believe that, I just have to wonder, is Andrew Kolvet sabotaging Erica Kirk? Is he intentionally making her look stupid, making her look dumb? Now, that's not to let her off the hook. That's not to, I mean, she's a big girl. She can make her own decisions. If she thinks someone's making her look dumb, she needs to cut him loose. She needs to fire him. She needs to marginalize him, get him out of there, get him away from the, but it doesn't change the reality of what I believe he's doing. I think he is I'm starting to believe he is intentionally sabotaging Erica Kirk. You should cancel that appearance at the last second. That'll be a great idea. And then we'll tell everyone you're scared. And then we'll make sure everyone knows you were actually there. And then we'll shame them. And we'll make sure we alienate the people who should be your biggest supporters. We'll be so weird to Candace Owens. We'll be so weird to Tucker Carlson. We'll make sure they distrust everything you do. That's a great plan. It reminds me of something that happened in the immediate wake of Charlie's. If you recall, immediately after Charlie died, according to Candace, in the immediate wake of Charlie's death, Andrew made a very weird statement about her and Tucker Carlson that you guys need to watch out. You're on the same list Charlie was on. In other words, back off. Or you could be next. And apparently, if Candace is to be believed, and I do believe her, he said it was supposed to be you. Meaning, you anti-Semites, one of you was going to get taken out. And I just assumed it'd be you. But it happened to be Charlie. And so here we are. Now we got to recover from this. You should lay low.
It's very interesting. I've already said that I think that whole "it should be you" thing, I think that was him. I think Candace was supposed to be the golden calf, the sacrifice that was supposed to happen. It was supposed to be Charlie. If there was a plan the whole time. I don't know if Andrew Kolvet was in the scene when Candace first met Charlie. If he was, this lends more to my theory that I think they were primed to have it be Candace. And it was like, Charlie's here. Charlie loves this lady, absolutely thinks the world of her. They're an incredible team. They keep on going. Charlie, it's the apple of Charlie's eye. Charlie doesn't even know Erica at the time. And he's just focused on her. He thinks she's the Iron Lady. She's going to take this movement to the finish line. And if it did happen, I mean, God forbid, but if it did happen that way, think of what it would have looked like. It would have been Charlie Kirk, who's a masterful speaker, and his partner, Candace, who's also a masterful speaker. And something happens to Candace and she's gone. And then the person who picks up the pieces is Charlie. Well, that's just incredible. You know, again, God forbid, but that would be incredible because you have this person who is the epitome, just is the beacon of the conservative movement. And also they're black. So now they're like this civil rights person. You know, unarguably, people always argue and they get upset if you compare Charlie to MLK. They wouldn't get upset with, we talked about that with Candace. They'd be like, well, look at her. She was doing the same thing. It would be, you wouldn't argue that comparison. She would be on this pedestal. She'd be the manufactured messiah. And then Charlie would be the incredible, masterful speaker, just taking over and moving forward and then becoming president because he would, instead of Erica trying to connect to Charlie, it'd be Charlie connecting to Candace of what Candace would have wanted and what Candace was pushing forward. It would have been perfect from a demon perspective, from an evil perspective. It would have been perfect for them. So, and that's if she stayed on the path of supporting Philadelphia the same way Charlie did. if she stayed on that path, if she stayed like Charlie, that would have been the perfect outcome for them. And I think that's what Andrew means when he says, it was supposed to be you. I think that's what he means. He doesn't say, I think it was supposed to be you and Tucker. He doesn't say that. He says it was supposed to be you. And then he says you and Tucker should lay low. Right? He actually says this is what Candace says. He says there's a credible threat on both of you, and you and Tucker should lay low. That's what he says. I don't know. Exactly. And then that's the big thing, right? Right? Mark book. How does he know? How did he know? Well, that's where Barron's, when Barron's building in this episode, that's where that comes in. Because these guys are in one place and they make sure to just glom on to Charlie. Barron talks about it. Candace already talked about it. The whole thing about the Falkirk Center, the way that fell through, and then Charlie had to move on his own. Andrew just clung to him and was like, hey, I'll help you out. Again, like Barron even said, like many people have probably even pointed out, he's not even good at PR. He's not good at PR. Doesn't seem like it at all. Charlie didn't need a PR guy, quite honestly. Maybe if you just don't want to think about some things, fine. You have another guy typing out things, writing little explanations about things, putting out fires and stuff like that. You don't want to think about it, fine. Other than that, he doesn't seem that great at it, right? Because a great PR guy is never seen. The greatest PR people, you have no idea what they look like because you don't need to know what they look like. Andrew was becoming something else. He was becoming something else. You don't see a PR guy standing next to the CEO and founder at all times, walking around with him, doing these town halls. And then when he goes to UVU, it's one of the only times you're not standing next to him or at least somewhere behind the scenes being around. That's not what, and I'm not making any assumptions there. I'm just saying, like, that's what happened. He wasn't there. That's not what PR guys do. PR guys are silent. They're silent and they're not seen. They're behind the scenes just doing things. So I don't know. But let's keep going because Barron starts cooking up here.
And if you put all this in the context, now, am I saying Johnny Moore and Andrew Kolvet were Charlie Kirk's handlers? No, I don't necessarily view it that way. I think they were bad actors who invaded and did a hostile takeover of TPUSA without Charlie's knowledge. They totally flipped it over, probably came up with an idea, you should do a faith component. That's what happened when they went to work for Mark Burnett. They opened a faith component. You should do a faith component. That'll give us an opportunity to get involved with our greatest ally and all that.
See, this is because I talked about this for a while. This had to do with part of what I was talking about with the unholy mob, as we call it in the show, where we're talking about all these Christian looking organizations that are all, surrounding Turning Point Faith. The Falkirk Center falls through and they don't want to renew Liberty University doesn't want to renew a contract with Jerry or with Charlie. They don't want anything to do with the team. They don't care who the scandal was on. They don't want anything to do with either of them. Then, and this is where Erica enters the picture because she's working in the Falkirk Center as they're trying to make it all happen. Then Charlie moves away. This is 2021. This is early 2021. He meets Rob McCoy at an event. Rob McCoy. Okay, now he's been positioned in front of Charlie via Andrew Kolvet and Tyler Boyer. They position Charlie to be in front of Rob McCoy. Rob McCoy then becomes a part of what Charlie's doing. In meeting Rob McCoy, he makes Turning Point Faith, and that's where the faith component comes in because he meets Rob McCoy and Frank Turek at the same time. So right when he meets, this is what happens. He has Andrew with him. He has Tyler Boyer with him. He meets Frank Turek. Frank Turek becomes a mentor in Christianity, in the Bible. And then Rob McCoy enters the picture and Turning Point Faith is made. That's how it happens. I've done a whole breakdown of it. I wish I numbered my episodes like Barron does, but I did not number my episodes. So I have no idea what episode that is. But I've talked about it at length. It's very interesting stuff. So, and it does seem like Andrew's just something else. You know, I think Barron's feelings are correct.
This is why I didn't want to put a cutesy title on today's show. Because this is too serious to me. This is too serious to try to put up some weird cutesy title and then try to like be flashy with this. This is cap and gown stuff. You have to understand Johnny Moore and Andrew Kolvet. I still haven't addressed the 20-month gap that Andrew Kolvet had directly before he went to work for Mark Burnett. I still haven't addressed the gap where Andrew Kolvet was living in Kenya and living in UK. I haven't addressed any of that. We'll do deep dives on Andrew Kolvet later. But I wanted to put Andrew Kolvet, since we went so hard after him yesterday, I wanted to put him in the context of where he was working immediately before what I believe is a hostile takeover of TPUSA from the inside out. And turned it into an organization where if Charlie Kirk was to text someone to say, I have to leave the pro-Israel cause, that he would not survive it. Because that's who these people are. That's who they are. Through and through. We think about people like J.E. of the Files fame. We think about the prime minister of our greatest ally. Think about the president of the United States and what he's become. Think about Johnny Moore. Think about Andrew Kolvet. Think about Glenn Beck. Think about all these people that this is like their life's mission is to support the greatest ally. And it raises an inevitable question of who is pulling the strings. Who is the one pulling the strings? Who is the marionette? Who's the one? We like to think the prime minister of our greatest ally is pulling the strings here in the United States. I don't think so. Oh, is Johnny Moore and Andrew Kolvet, are they pulling the strings of Erica and Tyler and Charlie? I don't think so. I want to say something dark here. I don't think a human is pulling the strings.
I love it. I love it. When I see people who are fairly straight-laced, I want Barron on the show so we can talk about occult and conspiracy a little more, but for the most part, very straight-laced, organized gentleman, humble host. When I see someone like that talking about not human controlling people, oh, I love it. I love it. I'm on board. I'm fully on board, sir. Cook it up. Cook it up, flip it, serve it up. Let's go.
I think these people that are co-opting Christian language and the trappings of the Christian faith in order to produce what I think is a decidedly anti-Christian message.
Project Often, yep.
I don't think they answer to a human.
Nope. Satan.
I think they answer to something far darker.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't think they answer to anyone in flesh and blood.
That's right.
I don't think anybody in flesh and blood is capable of pulling this off. I think this is so dark. This is a spiritual war. And Charlie was a physical casualty of that spiritual war. He recognized the spiritual nature of it and was trying to get out of it. He recognized the side he had been supporting was demonic and dark and evil, and he was trying to distance himself from it, and they killed him. I believe that with all my heart. And it is so twisted. It's so terrifying. That's what we're fighting. when we're fighting for who killed Charlie Kirk, how, and why, I think that why is the darkest evil humanity can face. I think it's demonic. I think it's Satan himself. I really, genuinely, 100% believe that. That's the why. There could be some temporal explanation of why, some political why, but I think ultimately it is a satanic why. Charlie was turning his back on the Prince of Darkness, and he was removed for it. He was killed by supporters of the Prince of Darkness, by the people doing his bidding.
Yep.
And I know it sounds crazy if you're not attuned to it. That's why I needed to do this show before I could even say it. I think that's why he's dead. That's the battle that's being waged. It's being waged. Their side is cloaking themselves in the language of Christianity and the ordinances and sacraments. I don't know what, I know Baptists call them ordinances, Catholics call them sacraments. I'm sure I'm not knocking other faith traditions. I don't know what they call them, but they cloak themselves in this sacramental language, in this ordinal language. They cloak themselves as if, oh, we've got to save the Christians. No, you don't. No, you don't. You know how I know that? Because there are Christians being slaughtered at this moment, and you're not saying a damn word about it.
Also, Jesus saves Christians. That's primarily Jesus's job. You know, we spread the gospel. It's primarily Jesus' job to save Christians and non-Christians as well.
Not one word. Johnny Moore, where are you decrying the death of Christian communities in Lebanon? You're not. You are a fraud, and there's no light in your soul. You are satanic. You claim to want to save Christians when it's in places that you want a U.S. military intervention, and you don't want one in Lebanon. Because it's your Lord, Johnny, over there rolling over Lebanon, killing Christians. It's the one you serve, Johnny. Or you would speak out against it. Can't be a hypocrite, Johnny. You can't decry the Christians being killed in Syria because you want military intervention in Syria, and decry the Christians being killed in Nigeria because you want military intervention in Nigeria, and decry the Christians being killed in Iraq because you want military intervention in Iraq, and decry the Christians being killed in Afghanistan because you want military intervention in Afghanistan. Now they're decrying the Christians being killed in Iran because you want military intervention in Iran.
Yep.
There are Christians being killed in Lebanon, and you haven't said a word, Johnny. Not a word. Not one word have you said. Fight that. If you're serious, if you're stable, if you're godly, fight that. Because if you don't, I don't believe a word you say. I think you serve the Prince of Darkness because you're a hypocrite. You're a liar. Told you it was going to get dark at the end.
Man, yeah, see, that's why I say, you know, people are calling him the professor. Barron's a preacher. Barron's a preacher. 100%. 100%. Someone said, is Satan code for BB? No, I think Satan is code for Satan. I think that's what he means. It's darker. It's darker than a person is what he's trying to get across. What's going on? You know, Tucker, as he was saying all this, I think of the clip of Tucker Carlson and Sean Ryan sitting down together. And Tucker Carlson says something very much the same. And it's in a conversation they're having about UFO, UAPs. And he's saying, I think that he's basically talking about how he thinks that the government and people, you know, in politics, they're serving something very dark, and they don't want you to know what they're serving. And they disguise it as UFOs and aliens and things like that. And he was just talking about how, you know, if people knew what was actually going on with that whole thing of UAP, UFOs and stuff like that, they would know that the government is serving something very dark. Govs of the world are serving something very dark. And I think what Tucker was talking about in that clip is the same thing that Barron is talking about in this clip. I really do. I think people are starting to make the connection. They're starting to realize what's going on. Not that, Barron didn't realize before. Like, this is his first realization in his 70 years of life. I'm not saying that, obviously. But, I mean, haven't made an old joke in so long, Had to lighten it up. It's not my fault. This guy brought it to a very dark place. But yeah. I think he's on the nose. I think there's a lot of people serving something very dark. A lot of people. And that's the thing with so many people. You'll hear stories about it if you talk to enough people, that so many people move towards God, move towards Christ, because they realize that there's something very, very dark. And when they realize that the dark is very, very real, they also have a realization that the light is very, very real. And they move towards that light because the darkness is so scary. It is terrifying. And I think that's what he's talking about with Charlie. Charlie was realizing that. I take one misstep and there's a woman messaging Charlie saying, hey, God's going to remove his hand from you, and this is going to be at your peril. This is going to be at your peril if you keep on doing the things you're doing. And they're just talking about him letting Tucker speak on stage. He made just a couple of missteps, and the missteps were that he was talking about being American and representing America. And that's all that anybody should be really worried about. And you should be asking yourself, if you're sending money as an American to Philadelphia, then what are you actually getting in return? He's asking those questions. Those were the missteps he was making. And that's why he got caught up in what he got caught up in. And he couldn't move away quick enough. I said it before. I said it months ago during this whole investigation. That if he was more vocal, if he was vocal like Candace, maybe this wouldn't have happened, right? That message, that shouldn't have been something that we all stumbled on month 4 of the investigation, that wild message that he received. That should have been a message that he read on his show and said, this is what this person said to me. They said, God will remove their hand from me and it will be at my own peril. He should have done a show. There should have been a Charlie Kirk show where the title said, I think they're going to kill me. That's what should have happened the second he felt that way. Should have said, canceling the Ben Shapiro appearance, and that's the show I want to make today. I'm not saying that it would have stopped everything, but maybe it would have. Maybe him being so vocal would have made everybody go, okay, we kind of got to move back here. Like, this guy's being very, very vocal. And then he breaks down who they is. He breaks down why he thinks this, talks about all the messages, starts pulling them up the same way Candace would pull them up. If he did that, I don't know if anything would have happened to him. I feel like, because what a monumental show that would have been. Who wouldn't have talked about that? Who wouldn't have talked about that? You would have had Nick being like, look what's happening with Charlie. You would have had Tucker going nuts. Candace would be furious. Furious. He should have done that. Coulda, shoulda, I can't really say that. But, I think it just would have been a different outcome if he did. Really, really, really could have been a different outcome if he did. Imagine that. The title just says, I think they're going to kill me. It's just Charlie, like, you'd have been like, holy geez, this guy's really speaking out, reading all the text messages. He said he got dozens. If he just sat there and said, well, this is a billionaire donor, and this is what this donor said to me this week. You can pull it up on the screen. And this guy said this to me, and this is what, pull it up on the screen. Would have been crazy. Would have been a wild, wild episode, man. And yeah, it would have caused a great amount of destruction with Turning Point. It would have really shaped everything that Turning Point was. But he might have lived through it. And then he could have gotten next to Candace and said, Candace, I've been talking to you about, certain religious texts from certain places, and I don't like what I'm seeing, and I don't like what's happening. He did that with Megyn Kelly. He should have done that with Candace, but he wasn't allowed. He wasn't allowed to do that with Candace. I've talked about it before on the show. When it comes to the darkness, I've talked about it in regards to music because it happens a lot with music. I guess it happens in political organizations as well. But they always go for the leader. They always go for the head. You know, a lot of people don't know when it comes to Eminem, he wasn't the head of his group. This guy Proof was. And Proof would often keep Eminem on the right side of things. He'd keep his head straight because he could look at him and say, listen, white boy, you're going to listen to me, because they were friends for so long. You know, he got into hip hop the way he did because of this guy Proof. They took Proof out, right? There's a guy, his name's King Capital Steez, and this other rapper, Joey Badass. And King Capital Steez was like this incredibly intelligent guy, and he would keep the whole group in line, and they took out King Capital Steez. And they did the same thing with the ASAP mob. I'm sure you don't even know these names, but they did the same thing with the ASAP mob. And there was a guy, ASAP Yams, and he was the head of the group. Maybe you've heard of ASAP Rocky. He's married to Rihanna now. He was the guy keeping everything together. They took him out. There was Rockefeller Records with Dame Dash, and Dame Dash was like, everybody's going to make money. We don't have to listen to this guy. What's this guy's name? Leo. I don't have to listen to that guy. Guys, we're going to do this on our own. We're from New York. We don't have to. You're from Brooklyn. You're from Harlem. You're from Queens. This is a New York thing. We don't have to let in any of these other people. We're going to become billionaires together. They didn't like that message. They got into Jay-Z's ear. They couldn't actually take out Dame Dash because he's actually a real gangster with like real gangsters around him. So they couldn't take him out, but they made sure to ostracize him. They made sure that he had no money. They tried to take all the money from him, remove him completely, and make him seem completely insane. Took out the leader. They do it over and over and over and over again. Nirvana, clear leader of Nirvana. What happened? Take him out. Other guy, drummer, becomes a huge success. And that's what you see. The people who are willing to go for the money become huge successes. They're not doing what the leader was doing, which is making sure that what the group came in as, they stay as. And that's also what Candace was with Turning Point. Charlie had the vision, but Candace was like the bulldog. You're not going to get at us. Not only is the left not going to be able to argue with us, anyone around us is not going to be able to do anything that's out of sorts. As long as I'm around. What did they do? They made sure to get rid of her right away. They always get rid of the leader. Always. Always. MLK's gone. Jesse Jackson gets to stay around. Jesse Jackson does nothing for the black community. Rest in peace to the guy. But there's a reason he got to stay around and Al Sharpton got to stay around, but MLK didn't. There's a reason why certain people got to stay around and Malcolm X didn't. They always take out the leaders. They always take out those people. So anyway, just wanted to bring that up. Baron got me pumped up. Oh, man. Anyways, guys. Someone said, check my ex. Holy Fire Luna. Check it out. Here, we'll switch over here. Said to check my ex. Candace just posted this. I think it was today she posted this. Just now she posted this. She said, since the week leading up to Charlie's passing, I have had vivid dreams. They have been non-ceasing. I wish he were alive so I can tell him I don't doubt him anymore and that it weighs so heavy on my heart that I didn't see it sooner. There is a deep sense I have that I wasn't meant to see it sooner, but it weighs on me nonetheless. They will not get away with what they did to him, nor will all of you vultures who try to assist them in the cover-up. And then he or she, shows this text message from Charlie, as we've seen before. Anyway, I'm not sure if I will live to see the end of the revolution. I believe you were the peace God meant me to find that will finish the fight. Since the beginning of Turning Point, I knew in my gut I might get wiped out at any time. I cannot explain it, but I dream about it all the time. I wonder when they're going to make fun of Charlie's dreams about it. Wonder when that's going to happen. I dream about it all the time, like all the time. Anyways, that's a depressing convo for another time. Candace says, that is so weird. More a fear manifestation than actualization. Both of them misspelling words all the time is funny. Than actualization. Not really afraid of it, but I'm telling you what I know to be true. And that's where she leaves us today. That'll be a little hint of probably what we're going to be hearing about today from Candace. Little hint, I would think. So wild stuff. Again, she says, that she wishes she had seen it sooner. Weighs heavy on her heart that she didn't see it sooner. That's why I bring up Charlie talking about it. If he talked about it, she would have saw it sooner. She could have took action. But maybe she wasn't meant to. She also released a statement saying, I forget what it was, and I don't have it pulled up, but she was talking about how somebody has to unite the left and right. And it is the JE class and warmongers versus us. That's what she was saying. And I'll say this. It's hard to do that as just a person to unite the left and the right. Because at some point you have to be a leader to do that. And she is a leader. And I think that type of mission that she brought up, I didn't bring it up, she brought it up, will have her running for office at some point. I know a lot of people don't like hearing that for some reason, but I think that's what that's going to lead to eventually. Don't know when, but I think it's going to happen. Can't ignore, I've noticed you really can't ignore what you're meant to do. This podcast, when I started, it was supposed to just be about advice. It was just supposed to be about personal development and advice. But I know I'm meant to do comedy and comedic stuff. And it just came out. I didn't plan it. It just came out because you can't run away from what you're meant to do. Barron was doing broadcasting, attorney. And then I remember he told me at the members, he was like, he's putting in his 2 weeks. And the person's like, you putting in the 2 weeks because you want to do it, or do you really want to leave? And where would you rather be? And he's like, I'd rather be working on the show. And then he left. And now he's been working on the show. You can't run away from what you're supposed to be doing. You just can't run from it. It will always pop up. It will always come through. You can't run from it. The thing you're meant to do will always pop up. People will always mention it to you. They'll always mention that you have this little talent, and you won't understand why. And it will be people from all walks of life that will always notice this thing inside of you. And that's the thing you're supposed to do. You're just supposed to do that. You can't run from it. And when I look at her, it was thousands of people, even people who hate her now, have all said, I could see her running for president. Could see her being president. What they're really saying is that they see her in a massive leader position. And now she's talking about uniting the left and the right. Well, how are you going to do that? It's really hard to do that. She has the Joan of Arc thing that she was talking about recently as she came back. Can't run from what you're supposed to do. Anyways, guys, let's get into these coffees. We're at 2 hours already. Let's get into some coffee. Someone said Barron with 8 kids definitely going max. Barron's been going max. Barron's been going max way before we subscribed. Way before. Chi-Town, I think Andrew looks are tainted by the demon he carries around with him. I think so too. You look at some pictures, Andrew back in the day, he looks like a little boy band kind of guy. That's what he looks like, a little boy band type of guy. Rouge Recipe, if they didn't bring religion into this, no one would have made such a stink. But now that they did that, means everyone is going to get burnt. This is and the third. Oh Wow. Laura, love your lives, coach. Yours is the most fun, and we all get to laugh a lot. Thank you very much. Lord knows all of this is heavy enough as it is. Hope mama and baby are doing well. God bless. Christ is king. Mama and baby are doing very well. Baby's face is clearing up. We're feeling good. And, you know, just going back to what I talk about, like you can't run from things. I had no idea that Lionel was in comedy. I had no clue that he's in comedy. I thought he was a lawyer who just had this very eccentric way about him. And the next thing you know, he has this whole background in comedy. We're off camera. He's telling me how he could help me actually run some live shows. And that's been the thing that I've been focusing on. And I've been kind of pushing it aside because I got to get ready for a show every single, 5 days a week. I got to get ready for the show. And, I had no idea. You can't run from what you're supposed to do. It'll meet you at every turn. And the more you ignore it, and this goes back to what this person was saying here, the more you ignore it, the more you will be tainted. The more you will feel like you're carrying something very heavy because the thing you're supposed to do is supposed to carry you. But when you don't actually go and access it and live it out, you carry it around and it gets heavy and heavier and heavier. Yeah. And maybe that's what's happening with Andrew. Maybe there is something he's supposed to be doing with the information that he has. And he's not doing that, Anyway, thank you so much, Laura. Emily, did you see Reality Revolt's video covering Candace? It was titled, "This is not resistance." As I watched it, I just heard your voice saying, "Hoodwinked." Love to know your thoughts. I have not seen that video yet, which is weird because I usually see all of his videos. Miri Beach, Facebook. You are Mary Beach. How can I not read that? Mary Beach, obviously. You were great on the show last night. Lionel is another high IQ outfit with his $10 words and phrases and personalities he's met. Andrew taking the CEO position. I've wondered if Erica Kirk's friend Stacy is sabotaging her so she can take over. That'd be interesting. I never even thought of that when we were going over the whole CEO. Baron didn't mention her either. That is, yeah, I never thought that. I never thought about that. The fashion choices, the looks, eyes, her tone in speeches. Anyway, it may not help, but Erica Kirk needs a new acting coach, Maureen. A new acting coach. Yeah, or just one period. Maybe she doesn't even have one. Maybe that's the issue. But I never thought of Stacy. I don't know Stacy sabotaging anything. Stacy seems like this background individual that wouldn't be stepping into that role, but I don't know. I don't actually know. That's the thing about her. There's so little known about her. So little. Jesse on Fire says Charlie Kirk is alive. I know he does. I wonder what Valhalla thinks of that. That's a question I'd have for Valhalla. If he comes on the show, I would ask him that question. What do you think about that theory? About him being alive? Alieni? What is that? Alieni? Well, thank you, Alieni. Say something next time. Like the pronunciation of your name. It'll help. Corgi Mom. Been waking up to you every morning since you started going love. I actually like that. I know you meant live, but I think I like that better. Going love. You and Lionel were fantastic. Such a blessing. The universe connected you two. Can't wait to watch your dreams come true. Thank you very much. Really, really appreciate that. Yeah, Lionel was great. Lionel was just fantastic, man. I mean, I can't wait to have him on my show. I mean, he said he interviewed James Lipton. I got to find the interview. I got to talk to him about that. I mean, if you guys don't know James Lipton inside the actor studio, I mean, he was the biggest podcaster before podcasts were even a thing. I mean, it's just incredible. He's the best interviewer in the world ever. Rest in peace. Mel Barrett. I'm going to say something nice. I love your show. In my opinion, Ben Shapiro is a bully. He bullies people who won't bend to his will and needs his daddy, Philadelphia. Imagine if he was in a position of power. Scary. Oh, You, Baron, Candace, Wolves, and Valhalla should all have a panel show. Point of views, laughter, a power move. That would be very interesting. That'd be very interesting. I don't know if all of us could afford Candace, though. I don't know. I don't know if we could afford Candace, but that would be really cool. That'd be very interesting panel of opinions. Very interesting. Be very fun. It would be really cool to do that in person. You know, not online, not 4 screens where we're all no, in person where we're all there. That would be really, really cool. Leafy Greenness. Loved your Lionel interview. All of his compliments of you were 100% correct. You are my main source of news now because I don't laugh about it. If I don't laugh about it, I'll cry. Double thank you for you, baby coaches and Mrs. Coaches. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Yeah, his compliments. You know, it's so funny when people compliment me. In my head, as I'm hearing the compliment, I'm like, they're lying. This is not. You're lying. You're just making stuff up, or you're just misinformed. You don't know what you're talking about. I always have that playing in my head when someone compliments me. But he said such nice things. I was like, wow. I'm like, what is this? Like, what is life? It's so weird. I didn't even know this guy. He's a comedy. He's telling me these things about myself. It's just wild. Really wild. Howdy, coach. Hope the family is well. Blessings. Yesterday, Baron touched on Andrew and Johnny. If you add their backgrounds to Erica's background, they had to have known the same people, being in the same club. They plan to have Erica put something tough on Kat. Put something tough, Kat, on Charlie being the first. We know both what that does. We both know what that does. Oh, you're talking about what Lionel was talking about. You know, Cleveland neckties and headboard comas and things like that. You're talking about that. You're saying she put a hurting on him. She put a hurting on him and gave him the old razzle dazzle. You know what I mean? Kind of made the pyrotechnics pop, if you know what I'm talking about. You guys know what I mean? Kind of made the sparklers sparkle. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, you're right. You're right. I do know what that does. I do. In my opinion, they targeted Charlie from all sides. He didn't stand a chance. Need a Tatum, Valhalla poll. Mama, they put me in the straight trash, mama. Stay minty. Thank you so much. That's so funny. Yeah. I mean, talking about them all knowing each other, very possible. I mean, Hollywood, reality TV. I mean, that world is way smaller than you think it is. Way smaller. Way smaller. Just like the YouTube world. You know, the little creators that we all are. You know, Zach just messaged me. Zach Costello just messaged me. Baron messaged me in the morning. I mean, you know, it's like it's smaller than you think. Really small. So the fact that they have known each other, I think for sure they could have known. Were they all like best friends, palling around dinner? I don't know, but for sure know each other. You know, I do think it was a setup from the very beginning. I think around the time, maybe even before the Falkirk Center, he was being looked at. Maybe at the point of him having that, and we talked about this before, Candace brought it up, having that spiritual mentor that Charlie had coming out of that X-Man school that he was in. Maybe it was since that time, because as soon as he goes and speaks, someone's like, hey, you don't go to college and I'll invest in you. That's a weird thing to have happen right away. A very weird thing to have happen. That doesn't happen all the time, you know? So I think there's something to it. Someone says, you are a mess, respectively hilarious. Thank you very much. You know, we're all just waking up. You know, this is what this show is. This show is the wake up call. We're just waking up all together, you know. Big Goy Paloy, I agree about doing stand up and making a show about it. Did you take the time to see Josh Johnson? I think it is the young black comedian who did this, his whole tour basically as podcast episodes talking about the events. I honestly think you could blow him out of the water. Oh gosh. I mean, you literally said Camp Gagnon who? And he is doing a dang tour. So message me on IG, give me a list of what you need to do and put me to work. All right. All right. I did not check out Josh Johnson. It's very hard to check so many things out. I mean, between Candace and Barron, I mean, that is 4 hours of time taken up. Oh yeah, this guy. He did podcast episodes. That's interesting. He did podcast episodes talking about the events. That's actually a really smart idea. I'm going to subscribe to this guy. Month ago, 1.8 million views. He must be doing something right. You think I'd blow him out of the water? I don't know. I think you like me more, you know? But who knows? Shannon, and I will message you. Message me again. Big Goy Paloy. Please message me again on Instagram. I'm losing. I have to make like a different section for Instagram of just people that want to work with me. I have to make that a section because it keeps getting lost. Because my Instagram was just personal, and now it's like a mixture of business and personal and all this stuff. So, and tips and information, and it's a lot. Shannon, coach, love that your chat isn't filled with overbearing mods. That is hilarious. Oh, he works on the Daily Show, Josh Johnson. That is where I've seen him. Okay, that's why he looks so familiar. Okay. Bye-bye, Duchess of Camelot. Bye-bye. We'll see you tomorrow, 10 a.m. sharp, hopefully. That's where I've seen him before. He does work on the Daily Show. That's very okay. Now I understand. I understand now who this guy is. Interesting. Glad it's not filled with overbearing mods. I know some are needed for trolls, but when it is the same mods in all the shows I watch, think they kind of let it go to their head on blocking or timing people out. Just refreshing, not only seeing mods chop it up in the chat. Interesting. I never understood the world. I didn't know about the world of mods before, that there was a whole like ecosystem of mods and things like that. I knew that existed on Reddit because Reddit mods are just insufferable for the most part. Sorry to blanket statement and any really nice Reddit mods out there. But I did not realize that there was that type of culture on YouTube. I had no idea. So very interesting. And thank you. I could see that if you had like 7 mods and they're all just the ones talking. I guess that could be like, you know, I guess it helps community sometimes, but I guess it could also, I don't know. It's hard. I don't know much about the world of mods, honestly. Dropped in to send a coffee. Can't stay for the live. I'm in the middle of your Lionel episode. I'll come back after for a doodle loop. Love your personality and deep dive so much. Keep up the great work. Congrats on your family. Congrats to your family on your birthday baby. Yeah, that birthday baby. That birthday baby's doing well. Autumn, been wanting to message you this point of clarification. Oh, I saw this morning. I'm 99% sure that when Candace Owens told Erica Kirk about the tip to look into Andrew Kolvet, she only revealed that someone on the inside tipped her off. I believe her recent punishment of truth on them was the added detail that it was actually Mikey McCoy. If I've misunderstood how you think that all played out, then never mind. Thanks for always putting a smile on my face. You're delightful. Thank you so much, Autumn. Lovely name. I think I'm not 100% sure about that. Not 100% sure. What you're saying makes sense because she says someone on the inside. Then she says, okay, you guys don't want to, you guys think that you're just going to, trample all over me and talk a bunch of mess. Then I'm going to hit you with this. How about that? It's Mikey McCoy. I feel like I'd have to rewatch the episode. I think she did tell Erica that it was Mikey McCoy. I think it was supposed to, well, here's what I think it was supposed to be. I think it was supposed to be a very open conversation that they were having. And in this open conversation, they were, being honest with each other and not withholding information. I think that was what was supposed to happen. And then also Candace, as this person shows right here, says Candace heard that from a third party. So I wonder if she just said, from a third party, I was told Mikey McCoy said Andrew Kolvet should be looked into. So I wonder who the third party was. I don't know. Someone, love your show and your often humorous take on the idiots in this crazy world. Congratulations on your new family member, Thank you very much. Judy Bowman of Judy Bowman Art. I know you. We need a coach review video. Lots of LOLs. Who is it? You got to tell me who. Oh, Polk Sheriff. Oh, man. I might have to just do a segment of that sheriff every show. I might just have to stay up to date with that sheriff. I know exactly. I see Polk Sheriff right here. I know exactly who you're trying to show me right now. Let me know which video it is. Let me know the title of it. But I definitely want to look into it. I was going to pull some of him up today, but I didn't think I'd have time, which I didn't. Chrissy K, thank you for your clear and entertaining way of rendering the truth. You save me so much time and cognitive dissonance. I feel like we read this yesterday. Let's see here. Let me jog my memory. Is this your first time seeing Grady Judd? I'm from SC, but anyone who goes to Florida knows he don't play. He does things like this all the time. He does a press conference once with all the jewelry confiscated from a dealer. Yeah. Someone said he has a YouTube. Does he? I got to check it out. I really have to check it out. Just incredible. Just an incredible dude. Okay, so we're done with the coffees. Let's jump into the supers here, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, the supers. Show it on the screen here. I got to make the screen a little bigger so I can read this. Coach, as a white man, being called the blackest one like you did Charlie Kirk, nothing feels cooler, truly. That's why I did it. It was a compliment when I was saying that with Lionel. It was a compliment. They were talking about, like Lionel was talking about how everybody at Turning Point looks like they're from a country club. And I was like, yeah, Charlie was the blackest one. Charlie was the blackest one. He's hanging out with Kanye West, hanging out with Candace. What are we talking about here? He's the blackest one. He was great. Mark Book, 1 membership. Thank you so much, Mark Book. Harmon Guzman. Damn. You said tyke. I thought you were talking like me for a second. No. I said tyke. Okay. That's the only word I said, sir. Mark Book, another membership. Thank you very much, Mark Book. Appreciate you. Who is this? Barefooted Texan. Michelle is godfather to Michael is godfather to one of Candace's children. Ben knows this. That was pure evil. Oh, yeah, that's true. He's trying to get her to say the name. Yeah, that's true. He's looking. He's in his rage. He's probably looking for a reason to go after Michael Knowles, but he also knows that he can't just destroy the company more, but he probably does want to. That Ben has a little bit of the tism, I don't know if you can tell by just hearing him talk. I've grown up around guys like this, He has a little bit of the tism, very much so, I think. Let me see here. Oh, so coffee did roll in. I don't know why it didn't show me the new coffee. I'll look at that in a second. Yeah, so that was pure evil. He knows what he's doing. Jamie. Oh, it's a firecracker. I don't know what Jamie's going to say right now. Coach, I was completely against doing comedy. And not reading my super duper chats. But after this morning, you have my blessings. You had me cracking up. That's funny. Yeah, I know. It'd be hard not to read yours, Believe you me, even if I miss it here, I always read yours, 100%. Jamie, ladies and gentlemen, friend of the show. Leafy Greens loved your Lionel interview. All his compliments to you were 100% correct. You're my source of news. Didn't you say this in a coffee? You sent this in a coffee in here? Thank you so much. Because I have a laugh or else I'll cry. I have to laugh or else I'll cry. Thank you to you, baby coaches and Mrs. Coach. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Really appreciate that. Yeah, Lionel's compliments were wild to me. He's like, you're aces. He's like, we became best friends. Belinda Lee Barrett, thank you very much. Rogue Recipe, attached to the damn ceiling and such. Attached to the damn ceiling and such. Who said that? Who said that? What is that? I always have to go to the chat just to make sure, so I know what I'm looking at. Here, I gotta get Josh Johnson off the screen. Gotta get my own stuff back on the screen. Hold on a second, because sometimes the chat just knows what's up. The chat's just like, okay, let me just break this down for you real quick. You are access coach. Nice, thank you. Let's keep going here. Jigsaw giving Prez Orange the headboard coma. Oh goodness. Oh, that's a visual. That's a visual for everybody. You know, that's a real visual right there. Oh, this is the best. This is the best, most beautiful. Oh, this is crazy. This is crazy. Your face, not that great, but this whole thing that we're doing right now, absolutely fantastic. This is just amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much for this. You know, I'd imagine that's how he would react. Rogue Recipe. Spiritual warfare is exactly what we're going through right now. Right? Meow. Sorry. Mispronounced meow there for a second. And you're right. Hit the like, y'all. 5.5 in here, only 1.6 likes. Please hit the likes, guys. It helps the channel tremendously. Please hit those likes. You have no idea. Valhalla's audience rated the podcasters. We love you, Coach. Barefooted Texan. Thank you so much. I didn't realize that. I saw myself next to Destiny. I was like, oh God. I'm like, oh my God. There's like a D list. I was like, oh no, am I gonna end up on the D list? You know, it felt like school all over again. I always failed in school. Everything was an F in school. I was like, oh no, it's gonna happen again. It's gonna be my villain story. It's gonna be my origin story as a villain once they put me in the D list. But I got into the A list. There we go. You know what should happen with everyone that's in the A list and S tier list? We should all be on Valhalla's show. He should be messaging all of us to be on his show. That's what he should do. Right? The audience has spoken. Up with BM. Coach, that's exactly what Turning Point USA is forgetting. Charlie debated he didn't do shows reading from scripts. Turning Point 2.0 isn't debating, it's an echo chamber. Yeah, it's gotten really, really bad. It's gotten really bad. You know, that podcast is completely gone. But again, it's because Andrew's a guy. I mean, give Andrew a podcast. Give him a podcast right now where he starts from scratch. I mean, he gets 28 views. He gets 28 views consistently. That's it. That's what he would get. You know, he jumped into Charlie's podcast. Blake starts a podcast. Like, you know what I mean? These guys would be consistently getting no views if they had to start from bottom. They jumped onto this guy's podcast and just kept it going. It shouldn't be happening. But they know that if they rename it, that's a little disrespectful and keep doing it. They know that's disrespectful. And they also know if they start another podcast, it won't do as well because they don't have any of what Charlie had. They don't have it. Duchess of Camelot, this is all about Philly and it goes all the way to the top. Yes. I mean, you know, and we talk about all the way to the top. You're talking about Philadelphia, right? I always have this conversation where I say a lot of people, we never question, we always know that there's a deep state here. We never think of the deep state in China or Russia or Philadelphia or any of those places. We always think there's one here, but we never think of the other places. And who's to say that there's not one in Philadelphia, right? And they do have this wild objective, you know, this greater project, as they've called it. You know, I don't know. It's just a thought that always comes to mind. Tanny, sorry. Not me thinking he was talking about robots at first. Jenna TXRN1, Ephesians 6:12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, yes, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. You know, if you I feel like it's in maybe the King James Bible. If you look into some versions of the Bible, they actually, I think they keep principalities. I think they don't say powers, they say governments. In some versions of it. You should look it up. I've seen it. Really weird. I mean, really fitting today, you know. Trail to follow, all coincidental unalivings. Yeah, let me tell you, of course, all of them. Thank you for becoming a member. Tank, K-Tank. That's what I'm going to call you. That's your nickname. That's a cool nickname. K-Tank. There we go. They equals WEF, unelected elites versus useless society. That is what they call us. Literally, that is a term, useless society. That is an actual term that they use in tech and I think economy as well, or economics, I should say. Jeremy Collins, you can't run from what you're supposed to do, coach. I'm just saying, what is this? Arvidis Saboins? Arvidis Saboins? I don't know what this name is. Arvidis Sarbonis? Am I casting a spell? Am I casting a Viagra spell right now? Arvius Sarbonis. Am I casting a Viagra spell? And you're Clyde Dexter, or Dextler, metaphorically. Come on now. I guess I'll take your word for it. Jamie, you and Lionel were great together. Actually, he does have the sick vocabulary, right? He does. He has a wild vocabulary. There are a few words. There was one word I even said back to him. He said it to me. I was like, what word is that? Oh, yes, I have. For years. For years. Isaac? Yep. Isaac, everybody who knows about Isaac knows. If you know, you know. If you know, you know. He's one of those people that you can't really talk about here, you know? But yeah, I've been watching him. Tom Hanks and his post on Route 66 talking about roadkill just as Isaac passes away. Interesting. That's where the whole looking into Tom Hanks started. The whole thing. SAR Studio. Friend of one of Dick Gregory, Dick Gregory's main buddies. Respect. Thank you. Appreciate that. Blacksmith. We in the TISM community deny all allegations and any association to Ben Shapiro. Oh my gosh. It's like the neurodivergent draft. Dun, 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 dun. We'd like to deny Mr. Shapiro. He cannot enter the TISM. He will not enter the ranks of the TISM. We petition him to be a part of the Tourette's community. Tourette's community is like, what? Huh? What? F that. What? We think he should be over in the Tourette's community. We will not have him in the TISM community. I'm sorry. Oh my gosh. That's so funny. That is so funny. Oh man. We'll see. He has to go somewhere. Definitely just not normal, you know. Sway Diesel, mind bleach, please. The visuals, huh? What can we do? Jessica Parish, could my eyes are watering up. Could it was supposed to be you mean they wanted them to hook up? but Charlie and Candace weren't interested. Erica was second choice. Maybe why Candace has had all the jealousy accusations. Maybe. I mean, they already had a strong enough partnership just right there. I mean, you know, it was strong enough with what they had together. In my mind, it was already strong enough. I mean, even Tyler Boyer and Jack Pasopik, even they were joking about how people always thought Candace and Charlie were married because they'd see them running around together the way that they were, that they like often thought that they were married. And they all make this little joke, and Charlie kind of gets a little embarrassed when they're making this joke. I'll try and find the clip if I can, but they joke about that, and people thought they were married already, you know. But it could be that, you know, you want the perfect power couple together, and then, you know, evil forces like to put them together just to rip them apart, kind of thing. The devil would be less effective if he didn't look like us. Yeah, right. Very true. Very true. Thank you for that. You talking about Lady Graham? Oh, Lindsey Graham is catching strays in this episode. I didn't mean to do that to you, Lindsey. I didn't mean to do that, man. I just, you know, what can I do? Oh, there's more coffees here. Let's look up some coffees, guys. Let me see here. Do you think Andrew, it should have been her talking about Candace Owens that he meant to be CEO? Yeah, I think she should have been in that position to get taken out and to have everybody mourn over her. Andrew and Charlie and Candace all traveled together. She knew him before that. And the important person that he was talking to, that he asked what they knew, do you think that was Candace? Maybe all of this is just a big thing to show us who the bad people are. Well, every situation shows you who the bad people are. Let me read this again. Do you think that Andrew, it should have been her talking about Candace that he meant to be CEO? I feel like my brain's not working as I'm reading this. Do you think that Andrew, it should have been her talking about Candace that he meant to be CEO? Maybe. And I'm going to do this one more time. Let me see this. Andrew and Candace and Charlie all traveled together. She knew him before that. And the important person that he was talking to, that he asked what they knew, do you think that was Candace? Okay. All right. Well, you know, maybe. It's hard to tell. You know, as you look more into Andrew, it's like, this seems shadier and shadier, honestly. Lori, the third party, told Candace, Mikey told me to tell you to look into Andrew Kolvet. Candace doubled down yesterday and said that her third party source is very reliable. It's crazy. Candace is going to come out in like 2 months. She goes, and that third party source was Erica herself. Something's going to happen. It's going to be crazy. Because who could that be? Stacy? Could it be Stacy? Old deep state Stacy? Some chick online. I was born on my mom's birthday, and then 30 years later, my daughter was born on my birthday. Definitely didn't expect that. That's crazy. That's a beautiful thing. Somebody here says Judas Kolvet. You know the name Kolvet means to cover up. Do you know that? It's like Eastern Philadelphian. You know that about his name? Very interesting. Austin native here. Thanks for the grounded narratives, laughs, and consistency. Mama kills me every time. Lauren says, hey, coach, I totally love you, Candace, Baron, Zach, and everyone like you. But here's my question. You know how the other side, quote unquote, has these coordinated X statements? How is it that different? How is that different from what we, quote unquote, are doing? I'm trying to wake people up around me. And when I point out their coordination, they point right back at us. Any advice would be appreciated. Well, it's very interesting because the question there would be, are you coordinating? Are you coordinating with people when you do that? Right? It's a little different because you're saying that you're trying to point things out, and then somebody's looking at you and saying, well, you're doing a coordinated thing right now too. It's like, no, you're not. You're doing that on your own. That's not coordinated. If you were doing it alongside 12 other people and you guys were all in a group chat and you were like, okay, Candace said this, let's go, guys, then that would be a coordinated effort that you guys are putting forth. But if it's just you trying to tell somebody something and they say, well, you're doing a coordinated thing back, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. That's a dumb person you're talking to, you know? Wish them well. You know, you can't give up IQ points to other people, you know? Don't do that. Fredo means coffee? Get out of town. Really? Daily coffee with Cassia. That's very smart. That's very smart. I didn't know that. I had no idea. I had no clue. No clue. Isn't that something? You learn more every day, don't you? Anyway, here, let's see if there's anything else under Lauren. Tara, I'm glad you're covering Charlie Case and all that comes with it, but you have been big. You would have been big on YouTube no matter what topics you cover. You have me laughing every morning. You're the funniest person in the game. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And I do try to cover other topics, you know, as time goes on. I will try and get into other things, you know, like I don't know how I missed the whole thing with, you know, Jigsaw and the president potentially hooking up. You know, that's a topic in and of itself, but that kind of bleeds into the whole Charlie Candace thing as well, you know. But there's a few topics that we'll slowly start bringing it up. You know, I like I said, I want it to be like the Daily Show, but actually funny. You know, one relentless. The segment with Lionel when you guys got into Erica Kirk on WAP on Charlie, ridiculous. Yeah, that WAP. That's a good way of putting it. Yes, that WAP. That was Lionel. Lionel said, I'm going to play that clip eventually. Lionel said 10 different things that all meant, you know, getting it on. And it was wild. You know, he just had them. He had them locked and ready to go right away. Anyways, guys, we have hit it. We have hit it. These are all the, oh, there's a few more here. Sorry. Oh, I missed this one. Sorry, man. Let me see here. I missed this one. The devil be no, I got that one. If he didn't look like us, and then you had Judas Kolvet. Oh, it was a question. I didn't realize it was a question there. Yeah, you're yes, Judas Kolvet. Yeah, like I said, very interesting. Somebody was sending me some information about Andrew Kolvet, and they were just talking about how what his name meant and the nationality of his name, which I did not know. And it just makes everything Barron is talking about even more prevalent as you look into what his name means and the background of that name and what that is. Someone said, oh, okay. So the person who sent it, it's funny. Jeremy, I was just looking into what you were saying about Andrew and what his name and everything meant. And then I saw your message, but let me read what it means first. Let me just read that. So it's Eastern European / Philadelphian, associated with the Yiddish word kolvet, to cover, suggesting an occupational connection such as building, crafting, or providing shelter. Similar names and spellings include Kolvets, Kolvitz, and sometimes confused with German-rooted names like Kolbet or Kobler, historically linked to areas with significant Philadelphian populations in Eastern Europe, later migrating to Western Europe and the Americas. Very interesting. So that's what his name actually means. This person's showing me a load of research. They're saying the comments about Drexler went over my head. Clyde Drexler stated that Sabonis was the missing piece to the dynasty, describing him as a 7'3" point guard who dominated the paint, pass, and shoot, three-pointers, missed opportunity. Sabonis, am I saying that right? Arrived in 1986. He would have paired with a young Drexler, Terry Porter, and Buck Williams, potentially altering the outcomes of the NBA. See, that's why it went over my head. I don't know anything about basketball. I have no idea of anything about basketball. Nothing. Not a little bit. I shouldn't say that, but for the most part, nothing. Anyways, guys, let's jump in here. I gotta get going. But do we have another one? No. Just making sure I didn't miss anything. Before I miss some, I don't know how it happens every single time. Like, and then I log in and I look and I missed a few coffees, or I missed a super chat, and I'm just like making sure that I'm not doing that this time, because I don't like when I miss them, because sometimes they get buried, right? And I don't want to have somebody not be heard. But I guess we're all good there. I like how we're ending it with Judas Kolvet there. There's more from Turning Point that I'm gonna play next time, but I just wanted to cover those two things. Those are pretty big, you know. And we'll talk about this. We'll talk about this soon. And by this I mean this. This is a post from Blake Neff. I don't know. This is from something that me and Fleet did together. Blake is reposting it. I don't know. And it's not even a repost. This is like a screenshot, which means he was watching it. I don't know. Did me and Blake just become best friends? Oh my gosh. Anyway, you said I missed yours. What did yours say? Tell me what it said. Tell me what it said now. Check coffee. Someone's screaming check coffee. Okay, I'll check coffee. Hold on. I'll check coffee. Hold on. I just did check coffee. But you could be a little late. You could be saying this late, and I don't even know. But I just did check coffee, guys. Let me see here. Let me just make sure I'm not missing anything. Coach interview Blake Neff. That would be an interesting interview. For sure. You know, we do a 2-hour interview and then he'd sue me, obviously. I mean, goes without saying. That'd be the first thing he would do. Not even a doubt in my mind for a second. He'd sue me right away, you know. But I tell him I was friends with Baron. I'm friends with Baron Coleman. The interview's off. Shaboinus. Yeah, Shaboinus. That's what I saw. Shaboinus. You know? Anyway, we need a Coach Candace collab. That would be cool. That would definitely be me interviewing her. She has nothing to ask me, of course. That would be a very cool interview, because there's a bunch of things that I could talk to her about. I would, if I interviewed her, of course we would talk about, you know, Charlie Kirk, everything like that, but I would get deeper into the occult, because I would love to know how deep her occult knowledge goes. I would get deeper into that. That would be the main thing that I'd be focusing on. Oh, I completely forgot to pull it up. Oh, there's another one. There it is. Boom. Let me see here. I just want to make sure I don't miss any. My eyes lit up when you called Ben a tyke. I thought you said something else. No. Don't put that evil on me. Don't put that evil on me. I was calling him a little guy. That's why I said toddler. I had to I had to correct. It's the tyke. It's small guy. It's tyke. Everybody, you know, kids. You call kids tykes. Okay, that's what I said. Okay, all right. Don't put that evil on me. I didn't. No, I did not. Not me. I did not. I even realized as I said it, I'm like, that sounded like something else. I should say toddler now. I should probably put in the word toddler. I was like, I should probably over-explain that I'm calling him a kid. I should probably keep explaining that for the next 5 minutes so everybody understands exactly what's going on here. The brand of the little car. Yeah, you guys. I would never. Who do you think I am? Who do you think I am? You know, you think I go from saying code words to just going past Ian Carroll? You think that's how I would work out? You know, no hard K's in the chat, please. No hard K's in the chat. Whoever said that, absolutely not. Harmon Guzman. Guzman's another firecracker. Guzman's like Jamie, another firecracker in the chat. Anyways, guys, I gotta get going. I gotta get going. We will be back tomorrow. Candace is going live very soon. Tomorrow I'm going to be going live. I'm supposed to be on Sam Tripoli's podcast tomorrow. That's when we're recording, but I don't think he does his stuff live, so he'll probably put it out like the Thursday or the Friday or something like that. So I'll be on his podcast. Then Friday, I think Fredo, or Cassia, I should say now, I think she's going to be on Lionel's podcast. Monday, we're going to have Sabby. That's for sure. Friday, I might get the guy in who withdrew his support of Turning Point that's in college or in university. I might get him on. We've been talking. I would love to know his experience and what it's like on the inside of that whole thing. So I might get him on Friday. We're still looking into it. So hopefully there's more supers, somebody yells. Is there? Oh my gosh. Blake Neff. Blake, friend of the show. He is. My eyes lit up when you said, yeah. What does this one say? You ever been to California? Coach died finding out Lionel trolled Canadian. Oh, have you ever been to Canada? Of course. Canadian. That was crazy. So this person, if you don't know what they're saying, from Alberta, the real Canada. Ontario's not the real Canada anymore. Ontario's turning into something else. Ontario is like Southeast Asia. It's crazy. But Alberta, that's the real Canada, you know. I think there should be somebody from Alberta running Canada. The thing is that this is the scam. This is the scam that they pull. Imagine they were pulling the scam on Americans. You have to speak French. You have to know how to speak French. So you can say things in English and then say them again in French. More people speak Hindu in Canada than they speak French. More people speak Mandarin, and you have to know how to speak French. It's a scam. It's a scam to keep real Canadians that are out in Alberta and all the way out there. It's a scam to keep them out. That's all it is. Anyway, I got a lot of feelings about that type of stuff. But what they're talking about is Lionel actually let us know that Lionel used to troll Canadian radio hosts. Okay, you got to go watch this interview. He does a great impression and everything. And it's nuts. It's nuts. Lionel's like, I used to call up Canadian show hosts that like weren't doing much and like were kind of slower. And he would troll them unbelievable, would like cuss at them and yell at them, and then listen to the radio show afterwards to see their reaction to what he was doing to them. It was crazy. I'm like, this guy was a troll. He's a radio show host, a comedian, a lawyer. I mean, like 4 lifetimes this guy's lived. Crazy, man. Just crazy. That was one of the most unbelievable things. I was like, what? Exactly. A prank call from Lionel? It was so crazy. So crazy. Check out that interview, guys. I'm telling you, it was a great time. Absolutely great time. But I do have to get out of here. Take it easy, Alberta. I want to go to Alberta so bad. You know? I want to check it out before it becomes like Ontario. If you know, you know, before it becomes like that. But hopefully I'll get out there sometime. Anyways, guys, I just wanted to say bye. BC's better. Kind of. I like Alberta. I like what Alberta's about, especially nowadays. They're talking about leaving. They got all the oil. They're pretty much they're pretty much handing out allowance to the rest of the country. They're like, here's your allowance, here's your oil allowance, here you go, here you go. You know, they're like Al Bundy. You remember Married with Children? They're like Al Bundy. They're sitting on the couch, and every province comes up to them and just goes, "Can I have some, please? Can I have some?" And then Quebec is like Peggy Bundy, and she just takes the whole wad and she just goes and gives them $1 back, and then walks off to go buy bonbons. You know. Anyway, I got feelings about it. I got feelings. Anyway, I gotta go, guys. Take it easy. We will be back tomorrow, 100%. Friday might be an interview. I will update you guys more. We'll talk soon.